Yalla, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, hacker Hamin.podbean.com, HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com, all on your iTunes and YouTube. So easy to find, infidels, because Hamin's back, been around the world, romancing girls that dance with girls from Club Vita to Club Amnesia. And that's right, there's no amnesia today, as much as we'd want to forget some of these headlines and the shitty wrestling we've had to watch in the last 2 years. We're going to break it all down. It's Dr. Ted giving you the prescription this morning to get rid of this fiction. Yalla, hacker Hamin, and we're here on your Monday Locker Room Infidels. Yalla! Yeah, man. Good morning to you out there in Hamin Media Group land, Russo's brand networks, or if you're just finding us one way or another, you're in the right spot. No need to go anyplace else but Hamin Media Group. Grow. As we're kicking things off live, I got the Broasters.com official Russo brand coffee flowing through my veins, brother. I'm feeling like Warrior, ready to run down the ring and get blown up before the bell even rings, because that's how it would probably go for me. That's why I walked in the ring with a flag. But one guy who's always full of energy, it's the mama, Dr. Ted. He's here this morning. Good morning, buddy. Hair's looking extra spiky today, pal.
Well, summer's over now, so I have to do what I can to get this head ready for the oncoming inclement weather. I'm sure we're getting already. Just walking my dogs last night, it was getting chilly. I was like, man, it's upon us. As much as hot ass summer as it was, the winter's going to be a force to reckon with. I have a feeling.
There's something about that Kentucky blood, because I heard nothing but I'm cold the last 3 days. As that chill gets to you Southerners, man. Northeasterners are like, oh, this is fucking perfect. I'm so tired of sweating. It's 45 in the morning and it's 45 in the evening, and it's a nice warm 60s in the sun during the day. That's just how I love it for hunting season, man. Did some great hiking this weekend with the dogs of war and the wives. And yesterday went over to the King's Palace, which you've been there before, and he brought out one of his 7-8 pound steaks, and then I think I had 3 lobsters yesterday and brought 6 back home. So it was a great feast with the royal family yesterday, and man, I feel good off of it all. It was a good weekend to recharge. I did actually pretty decent listening to Cage Theory, John Hartnett, Javid, and obviously Blake Troop. And I was so pumped to, be a part of the UFC thing that we got going on, but to see John in the ring right alongside Colby Covington as he handed Tyron Woodley his ass, pretty much ran him out of the business. Even Dana White after the fight said it might be time for Tyron Woodley to hang him up. So he got embarrassed pretty much, and Colby made me some money. And I told Hartnett to tell them all too. I go, if these guys fuck up my parlay bet, tell them they're going to have to answer to me. So I think Colby didn't want any hacker Hamin. Then he went on right afterwards. I don't know if you saw his promo, but he cut a promo on LeBron James. He cut a promo on all the, kneeling down at games and putting everybody on blast, puts over the president. When Stooge Report is this, Stevie and Hartnett had hooked up early on. Colby was an up-and-coming fighter. Trump just got elected. They wanted to do a little wrestling thing to get him on the radar, and they came to Stevie and me, kind of, and Stevie and I were giving a lot of advice behind the scene how to get heat on him. It was right after the grab him by the pussy, Me Too movement, and all that, and all you got to do is throw a MAGA hat on the guys, get some Insta-whores, and put them in a hot tub talking some right-wing bullshit, and people lost their mind. He went from a lower mid-card guy to the main event, and then after this fight, he's met the president, been in the Oval Office with the title. I mean, that is all just from taking wrestling heat and work and paying it off in the UFC when nobody else is doing that, where they all want to respect the sport of martial arts and bow and do that. But if you want to be a draw, you want to get on camera, you should probably listen to what the hell we're telling you. And there's a guy, sure, he went up, won the title, lost, and now he's back. He exposed Tyron Woodley so much. And then it's awesome to see John in there celebrating with him after those guys left American Top Team. They're doing their own thing with Covington Inc. right now. And, people don't know. Like, if you really want to talk about the degrees of separation, if you want to play it for yourself there at home, or you're here in the chat at twitch.tv, which I see tables, adders, and chairs, Tuttles, Jay Reezy, my man Brendo, local 315, Jimmy Stranger, and Gam Wolfers are here. But the reality is you're in contact with me. I'm in contact with Hartnett every other day, pretty much. And now the president is in contact with them. So in the 6 degrees of 7, Kevin Bacon, you're 4 steps away from a call to the Oval Office. And I have no doubt if we needed to get a message that way, that we absolutely could. It's just strange how the yes and lifestyle works in creating scenes and patterns and lifestyles for people that'll interact with other people doing their thing. And that's really where it is. Covington applied it. He's back on top. And it was a good weekend watching UFC with those guys. I was happy to see John in the ring, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's UFC's an interesting monster, but you're right. It goes back to Wrestling 101, the people that are going to be getting more of the limelight. I'll grant you got to be a good fighter, but it's the people that know how to stir the pot and push the right buttons and get people excited, because it's like, it goes back to what I say about wrestling. The best stories are the ones that blur the lines between reality and fiction, and the ones that where you make people go, well, I think those guys really hate each other. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that sell the fights. Those are the ones that sell tickets and put butts in the seats.
And even afterwards, where they do this thing now where you go, because after COVID, you go right over and you give your blown up promo after you just had to fight 5 rounds, But Covington even knew after going over strong that was more important to be able to do that, to get that mic time was going to sell him in the main event even more than his victory just did, man. And people lost their minds over it, dude.
That's awesome. So what's the next big UFC event or fight? Isn't there another? I guess an interview, and that's where I truly am out of it. I'm already bad enough with anyone outside the wrestling bubble, but I think Justin Gage or Gadji, or I can't pronounce his name, is going to fight Khabib next month. It's supposed to be a big fight, I think.
Oh yeah.
I know that
will be. A lot of people are.
The one dude, Justin, what's his name, was already calling out Conor McGregor like he already won the fight. And I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I'd be going around saying that before he even had the fight. We'll see.
Conor got busted, to coming with another sexual assault type thing, dude. So we'll see.
Then that will not happen, or at least anytime soon.
You've been doing a tremendous job lately. You've been working so hard tonight. So let me take this off your hands for a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, the silent majority is ready to make some noise. If you thought that was a beating, wait till November 3rd when Donald Trump gets his hands on Sleepy Joe. That's going to be a landslide. Hey, and Colby. I want to dedicate this fight to all the first responders, all the military out there. This world would not be safe without you guys. You keep us safe, and not these woke athletes, man. I'm sick of these woke.
Uh-oh, it's breaking up. Uh-oh. I have a feeling either I'm not being heard or you're not being heard.
And Marty fake.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm the one that's live or there you go. Can you hear me?
I froze up, I think, dude, there.
Okay.
Did you get through the promo or no? Did it freeze up mid-promo?
It froze up in the middle of it.
All the military out there. This world would not be safe without you guys. You keep us safe, and not these woke athletes, man. I'm sick of these woke athletes and these spineless cowards like LeBron James. And speaking of spineless cowards, Marty Fake Newsman, Street Judas, we got unfinished business. There's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide. I'm coming for you. You're next.
All right, Colby Covington with a legacy.
He got over, man. He got over, right?
Yeah, I hope he gets a T-shirt that says "I am an athlete."
Yeah, well, that's all anybody had online was the fact that he just came out of a 5-round fight and said,
I know.
like that pops you like they know they just took an L, like all all that shit pops the shit out of me, man. But
good stuff.
I'll tell you what, that started with Hamin Media Group, Stevie Richards and Colby Covington. All that started 4 years ago when you first started hearing his name. So again, our influence has reached farther than almost anybody knows, and we don't go around like while it's going on stooging off our own business, you know what I mean, that we're helping. But like, this is a guy who listens and applies, and look what happens when you do that. When you ask for help, you humble yourself. You can act like you're over in front of the marks, but now he doesn't really need it because he's got the game and he can just play that out as much as he needs to. You know what I mean? So pretty crazy weekend all the way around, but shout out, listen to Cage Theory, you guys, our premier UFC show. I think they just had Pat Miletich on, and great for the betting lines, all that kind of stuff. If we're playing along that way, I had a good weekend on the boards. I was happy. So it's been, great adding that component to Hamin Media Group, man. And one of my other favorite components, that we've absolutely added is the Monday morning monologue. It gets me pumped up. It's a special feature that you can only get right here on MLR. And I think it's time to take it away, man, Beast.
Well, it's the first Monday monologue of the fall as we get into the news stories of the week. So let's make some shitty jokes about them, as this is your Monday morning monologue. Braun Strowman, our good friend, he had an explanation for why he showed up on Raw Underground this past week, and it's right to the point. Posting on Twitter, "I go wherever I want." And based on his recent online behavior, I can only imagine he followed up with, "You can't tell me what to do, you stupid dork poop faces," right before his mom yelled from upstairs, "Braun!"
First of all, don't tell me what to do.
I would like to hear his mom's Braun. I would like to hear that, Mother Strowman. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would. It's coming next week. Gerald Briscoe said he was going to make a big announcement on Twitter, but he didn't quite end up getting to it. Briscoe posted a video in which he went to reveal the big news that he's been teasing and ended up stalling it out until he said his phone battery was about to die. But I heard the actual reason was he didn't want a stooge. During last week's AEW Dynamite post show, Tony Schiavone provided an update on a possible TV deal for AEW in India, as there apparently is a lot of fan demand for the show, as we all eagerly await the debut of the great Khali as the main. A fan recently asked Lance Storm about WWE's odd tendency to list Canadian wrestlers from American cities back in the mid-2000s. According to Storm, it's because Vince McMahon believed that the fans would believe that all Canadians were heels. The practice was stopped, apparently, after Canadian wrestlers went up to Vince and said, "We're not your heels, buddy." That was an MSG South Park joke, just for you, buddy. In an interview with Medium, Drew McIntyre spoke about the plan he came up with when he was fired from WWE, saying he did not want to be like other talents who were released from WWE. The biggest difference between them was he actually wanted to go back. It appears that WWE and the Bella Twins have a personal health and hygiene line in the works. While we don't know what the actual products will be, I've heard that the tagline is going to be, "You can't smell me." And last but not least, Mike Bennett has a request for his fellow wrestlers. Stop calling fans marks, which is kind of ironic because if social media lately has taught us anything, it's that most of the marks these days aren't even in the stands. They're in the locker rooms. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Stevsky at the end on his way out with Ted the Trailer McNailer, Dr. Ted, then your Monday morning monologue. Awesome as always, man. Yeah, dude, I saw that Jerry Briscoe video, and all I could think of was like, dude, I hope somebody's making a movie that's like Civil War or Revolutionary War era right now, and that he gets cast in it. He looked like he walked right out of a time machine, man. Like, not the fact that he's old or what have you, but he looked like, you know, you could put him in any outfit from that and be completely believable that he's somebody at the Declaration of Independence signing that. That video popped me. But then people are like, Briscoe got released, and then you see how old he is. Why would you want to be sticking around WWE at 74 years old, dude, dealing with the bullshit, putting on shows and all that kind of stuff, man. Like, they were all lamenting it, but I was glad to see him. He's still doing cameos and all that kind of stuff. So he said, ask your grandma, she might remember him. Papa was a Rolling Stone, and he'd come to your town and leave that bone at home. That's what he does. Jerry Briscoe, doesn't matter, 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy. But yeah, man, thank you as always, putting the time in for a little extra entertainment feature here, Ted, on the Monday Locker Room, man.
Oh, it's my weekly challenge to myself. I am not just you all might think that I do stand-up comedy for a living based on the monologues. I know everybody probably thinks that, but believe it or not, I don't. I actually literally started doing this for this show, and so it's my weekly challenge. I know it's shocking. Shocked me.
Double shock master here over Strong. Let's just check in the see if anybody bit on the trap at all or not. But nope, I don't think either of them have seen it yet. So we'll see. They're both like, oh, dude, I was gonna come on, I forgot.
By the way, didn't you say you did some hunting over the weekend or no? Recently, but my question though is did you kill a giant black bear?
I did not kill a giant black bear, but somebody who did is going to be speaking with me this afternoon. The Brian Jack, aka BJ, to us, BJ and the Bear now is what I'm going to call him. But yeah, man, he had one of the most incredible hunting stories I've ever heard in my life. Not just from somebody I know, but like it's one that we're going to try and get in magazines, sponsorships for him off of it from all the equipment that he uses. And he is a pro hunter. There's no doubt about that. He's just not sponsored. When I say professional, this guy, sure, he uses modern stuff, but he can take it back to as primitive as you want it. And his skills are incredible. My hunting skills are pretty good. Like what he does is unreal. And there he is. If you're watching at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, taking out a record class black bear in Colorado. That's only like that's not even the story.
Yeah, no, that's going to have to be a special. Yeah, like he's got to tell the whole story. It was incredible just to read it.
We're going to record it later today, and we're going to get a hold of all the companies, and it's going to be an HMG exclusive. They've got video of it from his native guides and stuff, but this story, if you're a hunter, you almost have to like, what? but really, it's
apparently the game warden said, you hear about the stories that are one in a million. He said this was like a once in a lifetime type of thing.
Even beyond lifetime. This is something that is like, it just doesn't go down like this. So especially if you're a hunter, you walk and stalk and you set up and you look for game trails and you find good sign and you might never see anything. You just walk and walk for months on end, and it's beautiful when you're in the woods. But like what happened to him, and I can't wait for you guys to hear. And I know I'm just giving a lot of teases here. It's like out of a DiCaprio movie, really. Like it's something that just not the way things go down in the woods. And anybody who hunts and knows that is going to be like, bullshit on this story. There's pictures and video to back up every bit of it. So it's pretty insane, man. So I'm looking forward to that HMG exclusive. I'm not sure if it'll drop this week or not. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the guide video, how long it takes them to get it chopped, but we're definitely going to record it. I'll probably be back here with it live at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman around 2 or 3 this afternoon. I'm going to try and get a hold of them that way. So extra content, extra good times here, you guys, and we appreciate that. Appreciate Man Beast with these awesome thumbnails he's making for Hamin Media Group, YouTube, and Russo brand YouTube. A lot of people love those thumbs. They pop before they even play the video, really enhancing our channel that way as well, dude. And the thumbnail of our latest video of Ben Hamin versus Braun Strowman, #1 video catching fire over there at Hamin Media Group. So go check it out on YouTube. Absolutely subscribe. And man, I appreciate all the production work you've been putting in, dude.
Well, it's a labor of love, man. I believe in everything we're doing here, and I really do believe that despite all the success we've already had, we're really just getting started.
I agree with that too, man. You can see it every week. Something happens, and it's absolutely insane. We just try and roll with the punches and see where the opportunities are, and not really react in an emotional way. You know what I mean? So, fuck it. Let's make some phone calls. We'll just call.
We'll just start dialing up people.
Yeah. I'm gonna call them. See if we'll call 3 people.
3 people. The 3 people call.
3. It's 9 o'clock. It's not too early.
No.
I think he's gonna pick up.
He knows.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Jamin Olivencia
Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options. To leave a callback number, press 5.
Yalla, Jay. It's me, buddy. We're just calling live from the Monday locker room. It's your good friend, Hacker Hamin, and
It's the one, the only, your worst enemy, you fucking asshole, Jamin. I hate you. Why didn't you answer, you prick? You know.
Yalla. Oh shit, man. So there's our first try. Want to do one more try and see if we get lucky or not?
Sure, why not? That was fun.
He might not be up. I doubt this one. This is even a longer stretch. Great radio though. Great.
Yeah.
Calling people dead air. He's probably definitely sleeping.
Who are you calling? Surprised to me too. Was it Adam Revolver?
No, he'd probably be up too.
Please leave your message for
Mike Renly.
Who's that? I don't know that guy.
Mike, hey, what's going on, man? Answer your phone. We're on the locker room now. It's the Sheik and the Beast. Just wanted to call and say what's up, man. Get him, Beast.
Moon Man. Holler at us back, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Yalla. All right, we tried for switch it up, but these goddamn wrestlers, you can't depend on them.
Slackers.
They're going to show up 20 minutes before their match, work the main event.
Try Revolver. Why not? Because he should be up. He's usually in the middle of second grade. He's been doing the online schooling thing. I almost just said his number out loud. I was like, I know his number. You don't have to look it up. I realized we're live, so that probably wouldn't be it.
It's still 6,000. He's had that number forever.
Yeah, I know.
Coming up 0 for 3 today, man.
Well, we'll cut this part out of the.
No, we won't.
your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 502.
He won't even give his voice.
160.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Well, we tried, you guys. Nobody wants to be on the Monday locker room, I guess.
Well, they saw what happened with you and Braun, and they don't want any.
That's it. Trash, man, no doubt. So I was trying to do some good run-ins for switch up, but I don't have nothing to call Rip about. I know he'll pick up, but if we get there, maybe we'll call an audible. We'll see if anybody calls back.
Yeah, Rip will just be like, "Yeah,
what's that?
What do you want?" So Rip will just be like, "Yeah, what do you want?"
Yeah,
I don't know. We're just telling you, Rip. Okay, well, don't bother me.
You want to hear about the headlines? I don't watch that shit. That's what we'll get there. What else going down, Beast? Anything else in the headlines that we saw? A big one that kicks things off. I saw the USA Network president, or I heard from Jeff Lane that he's going to be leaving or he's out. They're doing a restructuring at NBC Universal, and that the top dude over there who deals with Raw may be out. So that's interesting to me of which way things are going to go for USA. I doubt they're going to like pull the deal from USA or anything like that, but the office is going to have to deal with somebody all new because the president's out of there.
Interesting. Might have to look into seeing about, wouldn't that be interesting? I know you said, it doesn't look like the WWE was going to give you a chance, but what if all of a sudden the new president of USA Network was
So I don't know who's up for the job. I just saw that I can't even remember his name, to be honest with you, off the top of my head. I think his name's Chris. I don't know. That he was well liked and whatnot, but because of how they're restructuring things digitally, I don't know if it's on their network side or how they're going to do things. That I don't know if there's not going to be a position there or they're doing something else, but he's out, and I know that's who I think Vince McMahon deals with directly. Is the top of the chain there. So is WWE going to be able to get their hooks in into anybody else the way they want to? You know what I mean?
That's true. It will be interesting to see how that plays out. That's for sure.
Yeah. We were watching AEW and we talked a little bit about this on Light the Fuse. I'm not sure if you and I talked about this last week or not, but the parallels that were drawn between the Bret Hart Canada thing in WCW when he first came in, and then how our latest entrances were with Miro very much parallel each other. And we saw Eric Bischoff on the show in that one or two segment cameos maybe a month and a half ago, and it's been completely off camera and silent and not really having his head in there, in the wrestling locker room. That to me shows the silence tells the story. And I believe that he's already on the TNT side. We saw that one exec, Riley, I think, who was working with Khan pretty closely. And I think Bischoff moved right in there and that he's advising AEW on the quiet right now, just based on the silence alone. I'm 70% sure on that hypothesis.
Well, here's the question though. I'm curious your opinion is, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, then when they were over him, here's because we laid this out on Russo, Brandon. It's not about your creative sucks, you guys can't get it over or whatever. When they just went over 1 million 2 weeks ago, right? After being under for how many months, like 600 to 900,000 in there, right? But you got to be at 1 million. You just have to be. And that was a show that had 45 minutes of wrestling and an hour of character work in it and storytelling. The next week they came back and did 20% storytelling. They had an hour and a half of wrestling and 15 minutes of storytelling. And the rating went to 60,000, maybe even a little less, 816. I can't remember the exact number. But they lost 14%. Yeah. So they lost 14% of their audience. So it was 860, right? Because that directly correlates. So what does that tell you? You have the equation right here, and Russo laid this out, like the roadmap. And then Tony Khan went into his post-show scrum with Hausman and all them, and said, we got to listen to the fans. The fans want wrestling. The fans want da-da-da-da. The fans are telling us this and not less that. Well, who gives a shit what the fans that you might have in a small demo group are telling you? The real numbers supported by the creative are right there. The roadmap is there. More story and character, less wrestling. These 40-minute matches with the Revival, nobody wants to see that on TV or a payoff, especially if they're going 50-50 for 15 to 17 minutes with Lucha Express. These are your Tully and R, and they should be going over on those guys in 4 to 6 strong instead of wrestling. And because they didn't do that, and because they didn't follow that roadmap when they said, all right, why are we over 1 million? it's because we did story this week and less wrestling. That's the model we're going to go with. They went right back to wrestle, and it cost them 14% of their audience.
Yeah. Well, the thing, do the wrestling on the pay-per-views. You know, the TV show, and some fans might not like to hear this, TV is supposed to be a commercial to sell. Well, traditionally it was really for the house shows. Obviously we don't have house shows now, but really the TVs are commercials to sell the pay-per-views. And so you tell intricate, emotionally driven stories that people can emotionally invest in. So that way, when it comes time to do the long wrestling matches, they're even more meaningful. And then the people get their, appetite satisfied for wrestling on the pay-per-views when they can do the longer matches, and they have more meaning because we've built up to it and we haven't been seeing wrestling week in and week out. As with anything, too much of a good thing, even if it is good, is going to be too much. You have to have context behind it to really get behind it. And so it behooves them to do more character work and do more story work, sprinkle in a little wrestling here and there, get people wanting to see it, and then deliver the good matches on the pay-per-view. And that's, it shouldn't be that hard. And I shouldn't be the one saying this, but why isn't there? There's people backstage there that I know for a fact know this, but obviously hopefully it is going to start happening more based on what they're seeing in the ratings, but I guess time will tell.
Society 858 says, did you hear Billy confirm that Tony Khan is committed to losing $100 million on AEW in the next 5 years? I mean, that sounds like a thing that you want to be reactionary to, but when I hear that echoes Bischoff 100% in my mind. For Khan to come out and say those things, to be able to say that out loud or what have you, that's Bischoff going, dude, WCW lost money 1990 to 95 until we turned the ship around, and they lost 100. You're going to have to lose $100 million if you're going to stay in this game, and then we'll turn the tide and start beating the shit out of WWE by 2025. You're going to be on top. To me, those are Bischoff older brother overtones that Khan is coming out to be, because the fact that you're in year one and supposedly they've lost 100 to 50 to $100 million, they're in the red already. Like, wow, bro.
Well, I would say most big companies, from what I understand, the standard is you do expect at least the first year of business to probably be in the red. And then as you start to build traction and build your market and build your brand, you start turning into the black as you do that. But 100 million, that's unimaginable money to me. But I do know in business, a lot of times you do expect to take a loss the first couple of years. But that's a lot. That's insane.
A lot, dude. And in the first 6 months, you get hit with COVID, so you're done. Like whatever your business strategy is, it's done, and you're just trying to hold on and say, what can we do? So if you were losing money while there were fans in the crowd, what are you losing now? You know what I mean? With no merch sales are probably down. I gotta believe AEW merch sales got to be down at least 60%. At least, right? Because there's no storyline to get things over to make anybody shit hot. So that's one thing. And then
not to mention you are going around, touring around and having the merch stands, you know what I mean? And that's what helps get it over, is when you go into school the next week and you're wearing the new t-shirt, people are like, oh, I want to go get that. And then they go on AEW shop or whatever and get, you know what I mean? Like that's part of the deal of how you gain traction with selling merchandise. And there's no way to do that right now.
Yeah. Jimmy Stranger says Khan has a lot of money. Well, this is the quickest way to lose it. I don't care if you've got millions upon millions, you don't get that money he got it by nepotism, but you don't get it by making bad business decisions. And a loser is a loser is a loser, man. Oh, whoops. Am I frozen?
For a second.
Oh, I don't know, dude. What the fuck? Computer's stalling like crazy.
You sound okay now.
Okay. That I know what I know over a 10-year course what 2 CW lost, and that's enough for me to turn my stomach, let alone what like this is in 6 months time, you know what I mean? Let alone to 10 years. And people are like, Hamin, why don't you start a Fed? I'm sure you've heard this 100 times too, Beast. Why don't you start your own thing, man? You would fucking be awesome. I mean, well, because I don't feel like losing $150,000. You know what I mean? Like, that's
the thing. If somebody had the money and wanted to invest I mean, one, yes, you do expect to start out at a loss, but hiring someone like you would behoove somebody, because that would be a much quicker route to be able to take it from a loss to being very well into the black. If they were to take someone with the experience and the know-how to be able to write episodic television. And that's difficult. That's not everybody can do that.
From your mouth to Allah's ears, buddy. JB Sportsman. Ben, did you see that Brandy has a new title, CBO, Chief Bikini Officer? Well, now that's something she's suited to do. There's no doubt about that. And I'm sure could.
I want that role.
That's sorry, buddy. You were up for it. It came down to 3 people, and we just.
Who's our CBO, Ben?
Colin Weiss.
Okay.
So
son of a bitch.
Yeah, actually, our CBO is Goldilocks. She was trying on new bikinis and stuff the other day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Goldilocks Patreon, you guys. So if you're into hot blondes in bikinis, I would definitely check out Goldie's. Go over to her Instagram and check it out. She put up some previews there, sexy as ever. So
yeah, and she's not. And the difference is she's not doing that and then going around and saying, "But don't sexualize me."
Yeah, no, not at all. For sure,
you pay for what you get. There it is.
She'll sexualize you, pal. That's what we wanted to. All right. Any other big headlines, Bees, before we get into the pain and pair?
I saw LeBron James's kid apparently he's a big pot smoker, Ben. He's in big trouble.
I like that kid. I saw this thing with well, here they are, I saw, was it T.I. was at some mansion of his, and he looked down over the banister. It was on World Star on his Instagram, and his kid's in the hot tub smoking a blunt, texting some chicks or whatever. And he's like, oh, hell no. And the kid's like 15 or 16. I'm like, dude, rappers from the 90s are going to get pissed about over sexualization and blunt smoke when that's the complete culture that they fucking created, right, perpetuated upon the world. But now they're not used to their little babies doing what they did and glorifying it that way as they become boys to men. That shit pops the shit out of me, dude. Like, these guys who were supposed to be gangster, hard ass, smoke the hardest weed. Look at my little kid. No. Like, it's not like the kids, I mean, obviously you look at your own children, you probably still sees them as 2 years old, but now we're in a strange conundrum and crossover with legal marijuana, and how far does that go? With we underage drank, so how far does underage drink go now to lower that bar?
I mean, I remember being a little 12-year-old white boy in suburbia here and knowing about rappers smoking blunts and smoking weed, and that was just just part of the culture. So, I mean, how are they going to say, what's up with these kids doing? What do you expect? You know what I mean? And it's not to mention, if honestly, I think at that age, I don't think you really should be putting anything into your body. But if I had a choice, I would much rather my kid be hanging out with friends smoking dope than hammered. And, I just feel like the value proposition of what's going to get you in more trouble, truly, and what's going to, potentially get you hurt. I'd rather my kids just be laughing and watching comedy shit and smoking weed than going out, getting drunk and killing somebody.
Yeah, man, I can't disagree with that on any level. The not hypocrisy, but just the full come around of it all makes me laugh. Where these guys perpetuate one thing and then the other. And you heard Colby Covington call out LeBron. I wonder if there'll be any fallout from that across the boards that way, dude. I wouldn't put it beyond Colby Covington to try and go to a game and just be there, even though the stands are empty, and along those lines to get the fucking headlines, dude. That'd be a good way to shake it up. But yeah, shout out from Side 858. Shout out to our boy Colby Covington for ending Tyron Woodley's career last Saturday. Dude embarrassed him. Just 5 rounds of punishment, and then Tyron Woodley goes down in a heap. And I don't think he faked an injury, but I don't know if he broke his ribs or what. But sitting there crying, you've seen it. Guys who talk shit and then they get exposed and they come up with some excuse to cry their way out of it. That's what it seemed like to me. But bitch made. I have to say that kills me because the guy looks like a million bucks. You could just see he didn't have the heart. Even in the beginning, he cut the promo where he has his promo package. It's all about him going to a therapist and finding peace within himself and his inner child, and that he was good enough the whole time. I'm saying while that's on, I go, this guy's lost all his edge and he's going to get fucking murked. And that's exactly what happened. He had no killer instinct whatsoever, no heart. And Covington just fought a smart fight and exposed him the whole time, man. It was good. Yeah, it says confirmed broke ribs, JVD says, but confirmed bitch-ass motherfucker as well. That should also be on there as a second opinion.
I'll tell you, broken ribs, that's one of those things that is not a fun injury, because really there's nothing you can do except wait it out, and anything that you laugh too hard and literally you're just stuck with just sharp stabbing pain. And so I hate to hear that, but I mean, fortunately, it is one that typically no rehabs needed and people end up making a full recovery, but it sucks for about 6 to 8 weeks to deal with that, sometimes longer.
Word. Yeah, it was a good time, man. I won a little bit on our betting pool. So again, go over there and check out Cage Theory. Great information. Give you that pre-fight tips and looks at everything that's going on from guys who aren't, again, just some mark reporters on YouTube. These guys are in the biz. Blake Troop, John Hartnett in the ring with them in main event UFC. That's how closely connected you are, and the information you're getting is prime here at Hamin Media Group, man, because you can go ahead.
Oh, no, it was slight deviation. I was going to say, speaking of betting, last year in Vegas, I made I guess not a prop bet, but I went ahead. You know, I'm an old Chicago Bears fan, and so I just said, what the hell? I threw down 10 on them being NFC champions and 10 on them winning the Super Bowl. I am truly surprised and shocked that they're already 2-0. Sorry about the loss there last night, though, Ben. I know they beat your Giants, but Bears look like they're on a roll. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, I was shocked too. They almost came back. I'm frozen up here. Hold on.
Yeah, you are. There we go. Well, hip. Ben?
Yeah, I'm here. If you can hear me, I'm just waiting for the wheel of death.
I can hear you, but it looks like you're just
I know, I'm
staring lovingly right
close. Hold on, I'm going to jump up.
Okay.
Right, my Chrome is not responding still, so I just got to wait for the blue wheel of death.
Oh shit. Well, I guess wait.
You can hear me, Beast, or not?
Yeah, you're going now. I can see you moving and hear you.
Really? Because my computer's spinning like crazy right now. Hold on. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this. I'm going to blame it on WrestleLink's website.
Damn, WrestleLink.
Holy
always
shit.
Problems. Now I can't talk
Damn
right
it,
now.
Hausman.
And I didn't get blown up in a fight.
I know.
Problems.
I
was trying to say trouble and problems at the same time, and it came out as problems.
Everything is fucking foobar right here. I may have to end the stream and come back in. I'm going to see what I got to do. Beast, just stay here where you are. I might be able to jump right back in a second.
All right. I will stay right here, and I'll hold the fort down.
Right. It might end it for you too, though, but we'll see. I don't know.
Well,
wait.
We'll
hold
on.
Wait. We'll be back here. Might be back. We might not have to end things. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing in the show. What timestamp are we at?
Well, I certainly hope that you'll have the energy, and I can guarantee you'll have that energy if you have the Brosters. Don't forget the only place where you can get the Russo Bro coffee, bro. Uh-oh.
Everything's fucked. Not how we want to kick Monday off, you guys.
Quite literally and figuratively. Everything is fucked. That would be a good t-shirt. You should get that at Pro Wrestling Tees.
Everything.
Hey, I saw Pro Wrestling Tees. That was a cool story, or a cool story, interesting story. I guess they're trying to trademark the word shoot. I don't know what that's about, but that was an interesting little thing I saw. I couldn't come up with a good joke for it, though, so I left it off the monologue.
Good. That's WWE's trying to trademark shoot?
No, Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know why or what, but looks like it's just me. Now that it's just us guys, let's talk about Ben Hamin. What do you want to know about him? I'll spill all the beans. I'll spill all the secrets. What do you want to know? Don't tell him I'm saying all this. Believe it or not, Ben, when he was younger, he used to tap dance. True story. It's a shoot. I know it kind of goes against his gimmick, but he was a little tap dancing Hamin back in the day. It looks like he grew out of it. I would personally love to see him put those tap slippers back on and tap his way out to the ring, but I don't think he's going to do it. I guess we'll take it to the chat. Oh, there he is.
Hey, man, what I miss? Anything?
Nothing, not at all. I didn't spill any secrets or reveal anything, Ben.
Good. Hopefully everything will be fine here and we can continue. Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. Seems like a StreamYard issue.
Hey, what's your thoughts and feelings about tap dancing?
Yeah, I like a little waltz clog time step, shuffle off the buffalo here and there. But we'll give you that old soft shoe from StevieRichardsFitness.com and have a good time with it. Thanks for dealing with any tech difficulties. If you're listening to this and it out, if you're listening to this and there are, it's because I didn't give a fuck and I left him. Shout out Gregory Hines. Yeah, I know what's going on.
Elijah says, I don't know why I look like I'm in a technical. I noticed that too. Like it's like flashing white on my screen for some reason. It's been doing that the last few weeks. I don't know if it's my computer or the technology or what. It usually doesn't do that if I'm on just a regular Zoom call. I don't know what's up with that, but sorry for my video flashing behind me.
As we get to the headlines, let's see if we can do it. On Wednesday episode of the Wrestle Stink Daily with Nick Hausman, he sat down with Hangman Adam Page. He says this was about, what was the headline? Adam Page discusses his depression following a WWE tryout. Page had a tryout with WWE, but nothing came from it. Page admitted he was depressed and questioned whether he should stay in the business or not. I guess, says, quote, I mean, I guess when you're 18 or 19, you start doing that kind of stuff. You feel so close to the only thing you think that matters at the time. You think that getting a job is the only thing that matters, and you feel so over and so close. So you're so enthused, but nothing ever happens after you go. And then you're pretty damn depressed about it. And you sort of consider, is this the only avenue to make it in wrestling? And you show up and nothing happens. You start to wonder, like, can I even keep doing this? What's the point? WWE later tried to reach out to Page in 2018, but Page said that WWE was no longer important to him, and that he strives for a creative outlet. Interesting that way. I mean, this is a story you and I know very well. We've seen young men and women come to OVW, spend their hard-earned money and train. Some make it, some don't, and some, we can name 20 great workers who are better than most WWE level that the world's never even heard of. Yeah. And, and that's being kind, a small number. But we've also seen our friends go through depression, addiction issues, because they're not morally ready to handle it as adults. I kind of am thankful that I didn't start wrestling till 29 years old, because I had already gone through plenty in the entertainment field, knowing the ins and outs of like the bullshit of the biz, you know what I mean? Being close to it. But when you're 18 and 19 and that's all you can see and you got that rush, you can get addicted to it. And when somebody says, no, you're not ready, well, they might not be ready maturity wise to handle that kind of feedback. And we've seen it go real bad for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is a real issue. And it's something that I think mental health in general does need to be addressed more. And I'm not saying that, it's not that we have to, tiptoe around everyone's feelings, but people do need to advocate for themselves and recognize when they need to, it's okay to say, I need help, and be able to reach out for it and either, go see a mental health professional or get on a medication or take control of the situation. I'll say, even though it's not something I'm proud to admit, I take antidepressants because it's it's hard going from any kind of entertainment business to try to be in the real world and try to fit into the rigid 9-to-5 work bullshit schedule. It's a whole different monster to try to deal with when your brain's predisposition with trying to be creative. Like when I heard him say he just wants to find a different creative outlet, like I feel that in my soul, like wanting to have that creative outlet. And I hope for his sake that he's able to find that because that is hugely important for anyone, not just people in wrestling. I think, a lot of people in life in general sometimes get depressed because they're trying to fit into their own type of rigid box that isn't really what they're supposed to do, because they think they have to do the quote unquote right thing and finish school or hold down this job instead of trying to chase their dreams or what really energizes them as people. And you've spoke on this before about how people, you don't get inundated with life bullshit because their mom or dad or family told them they had to do this certain thing in order to be successful, when in actuality, they really just needed to explore their own passions and interests and find out who they were as people in order to really feel whole as a person. And so I hope for his sake, he's able to find whatever it is that makes him feel that way.
Yeah, I think he found that in teaching as well with his students. I know I find that to be an inspiration when I was teaching. I really enjoy that, to see people get it and to make young talent into what they didn't know they even could be and show them the potential. That some of us are far better coaches and teachers than we are the performers itself. But our own tables, ladders, and chairs with an honest way in here. Appreciate you, buddy. Says, I felt like shit last week. I asked my doctor for new anti-Ds, and Ted's right. You got to recognize when you're not right and act on it. Don't wallow. For sure.
And learning more about it too. Like I tell you, something that's been hugely helpful for me is just reading more for about not just depression. I also, a lot of people know I have ADD, and sometimes that can be its own whole bag of worms. But those two a lot of times will lead into each other, and some of you might have, more anxiety that leads into depression and vice versa. And you got to find strategies to control it, whether it's sitting down and journaling, whether it's taking time during the day to meditate or getting some exercise in, or just whatever it is that helps get you out of that headspace. And it's not going to be the same for everybody, but it's up to you to find it. Unfortunately, unless you actually take the initiative, no one's going to reach out and say, hey, let me show you how to be better. You have to do it for yourself. And unfortunately, it just comes down to it. You have to be your own advocate, and it can get better. You just have to take the initiative and the steps to do it.
I agree completely with that. I mean, not like I'm like, oh, unfortunately. I mean, obviously everyone has, their things, and my psychopathy, I just turn into motivation instead of, you guys can feel my anger. Like that's just a natural thing that I inherited. And I just try and mold it to my own benefit. That's what kind of makes me unique in my way that way. But, the other part of that too is staying active and doing what Man Beast is doing right now. And I'll talk on MSG's behalf a little bit, who has been very open, where he would get depressed, bipolar, manic, what have you. Since he's really become one of our super producers here, and what he's done listening to Hamin Media Group and whatnot, and inspired himself to go back to school to get those gigs. I write him more letters of recommendation.
Yeah. And he went back to school because he had a skill he wanted to learn and enhance. He didn't just go to school because someone said, we got to go to school to be successful. And that's the difference I like to harp on too, because sometimes I'll go to, and not to get off on a tangent, but sometimes I'll go and see a patient and they'll have a young one at their house, and they say, well, tell them to stick in school. And I usually say, well, I would say not just to stick in school, learn a trade that interests you. Because that's the difference. Because I'm not about going to school and just getting a business degree because that's the right thing to do, because that's a quick way to get in debt and not actually go anywhere. Because how many people have a fucking business degree, and no offense, it doesn't mean shit. Experience and skills are the two things that really mean something. Now, if you have an in somewhere, if you have a good friend or a family member that's, high up in a certain industry that you're interested in, then sure, maybe getting that business degree will just help to expedite that process. But if you're just getting it because you think you're going to be the next big business executive, unfortunately, that's not the way to do it now. You have to get experience and you have to learn a skill.
Yeah, it's not about having the diploma on the wall as much anymore. Right. Please mom and dad and be a debt slave, obviously. My point on MSG is he would suffer from that, and probably living in the Northwest too, in that rainy, depressing gray, that can bring you down quick. But the fact that he now fills his days where there's no time to wallow in the mire, on a forward path, that he is doing great things. And I don't think he battles those types of things nearly as much because there's not enough time for him to get in his own head, because he's doing the NFO podcast, the locker rooms, the light the fuse, the running the master controls, doing Stevie Richards Fitness, upkeeping Hamin Media Group, Twitters and everything else, and managing and listening to 5-6 star podcasts for that. Like, when you're doing that kind of shit, there's no time to be like, oh, woe is me, why am I not? You put your head on the pillow at the end of the night and you're like, fuck, I just pulled 17-hour banger and now I want to go to sleep because I'm so tired. But you even can't, because you've got so much biz on your mind. You're going to do another 3 hours before you even shut down. And that's pretty much where he's at now. Is one way better than the other? I think so. I'd rather fill my time and inspire, because even when you start thinking about yourself, that woe is me shit, that should be a flag to go, you know what, fuck this, dude. I'm not thinking about me. Let me go and do something that's going to inspire somebody else. I think it takes people out of that. And, I'm not trying to say I have the answer or the medicine for fucking, things for depression and whatnot, but activity and self-stimulation. And yeah, pal, I like that. Self-stimulation, write that down. And mind stimulation is 100 times better medicine, I think, than an antidepressant or a pill. Some people, like I'm saying, don't flush your shit if you truly need them. I don't happen to suffer from the same afflictions as much, but those who I know who are open and honest about it with me, the more active and busy and creative they are, the less and less I hear about those kind of things hurting them and them taking themselves down, because every time they do that, they're leveling themselves up in their confidence. And all you got to do is look back at where you were 2 or 3 years ago and go, holy shit, look at the body of work I put out. Look at the people who've written to me and inspired based off what I'm doing and how far I've gotten. There's no way you can look back and be like, oh, woe is me, my life's not this or that. Fuck that. If you're doing something, you're going to know it. You know what I mean? So appreciate that talk, a little high level. And Dr. Ted put out a survey in the Hamin Media Group that was about what kind of shows would you like to see in a health show. We just had one about possibly a brain stem injury and whatnot. So definitely get at Ted the Man Beast on Twitter, and definitely submit that kind of stuff, or if you can find that in the Hamin.
Yeah, or just email me, bookthedoctor@gmail.com. Yeah, I had a good talk with Stevie last week, Stevie Richards, and it motivated me. I've been on the fence about it only because I feel like I need to do another podcast, like I need a hole in the head, but I would like to have an outlet to be able to use the knowledge that I have to be able to help out and give back a little bit. And I think there's a lot that we can cover over the course of a podcast. Although I'll make this promise, because I know there's probably some people that are thinking, oh yeah, I'm sure we'll see this podcast like that bourbon podcast. I am not going to release the health podcast until I can get this bourbon, at least the first bourbon podcast out there. So I'll make that promise right here, right now. I will not do the first episode of the health podcast until I can at least get the first episode of this bourbon podcast out. So never. No, I'm just kidding.
His name is Stevie Richards, and he has a conditioning and training program that's phenomenal.
That's true. And you can go to StevieRichardsFitness.com and check it all out, man. New yoga workout. Everyone's feeling it. Everyone's doing good work. Oh, come on. Fucking wrestle stink. Austin Aries responds to being called a quote sexual harassment after Christy Hennon. Austin Aries has a drama-filled last few years in professional wrestling as he departed multiple promotions surrounding controversy WWE in 2017 and was described as being incredibly unpopular backstage. Fuck. Oops, wrong click. Continue without pop-up blocker on. Oh, fucking stupid ass fucking Hausman sites. Fuck WrestleZone. I fucked up wrestling.
Oh, damn it. Those sons of bitches.
Shocker.
Shocked me.
Yeah. So as I try to read this shit, but I can't. 1 second. He returned to the place he experienced his most success, Impact Wrestling. However, in Aries' last match of that promotion, he no-sold a finish, flipped off the crowd, and seemingly went rogue, unbeknownst to his co-workers. Over the last 2 years, Aries has had just a handful of matches and discussed what he's been on the Ryback show. He said, well, I just released a second episode of my podcast, Transparency Report with Daniel Healy. That's my real name. And part of it is separating the character from Austin Aries or whatever everybody thinks he is from who I am as an actual person, because I'm doing things now outside of wrestling that are important to me. I think it's funny that wrestling fans say it's fake, because when it comes to me, it's real. And I talk about this in the second episode. I kind of felt like I've gone through the identity crisis now for the last couple of years. Came to Las Vegas 20 years now. People have been calling me Austin. 22 years I've been called Daniel. And so I introduced myself as Austin to everybody because that's how they knew me. And I asked myself, who am I? 24601. No, you study from wrestling fans because of things that happen on screen or on camera and in character. And we can all say that. I don't care what other people think, but that's not true. We're human. It affects us. So I had to ask myself, is this who I am? Who am I really? So part of the journey, like I've been saying with COVID, it's really facilitating this. Where's the part about the sexual harasser? Fucking A is going forever. Aries mentioned Christy Hemme incident being brought up during the speaking out movement. That's when Aries intentionally put his crotch in Hemme's face after she botched his introduction in TNA. That happened over 7 years ago. And Austin weighed in on it. People calling him a sexual harasser after that incident in 2013. Yeah, interaction between me and yeah.
You sounded like a chipmunk for like.
Did I fuck up?
You were just that's what it's.
Dude,
say it one more time.
It's StreamYard. It's
you just sped up really quick. It was hilarious.
StreamYard and fucking Spectrum. After the incident in 2013, the on-air interaction between him and Hemme got classified as a sexual harasser. For him, that was really difficult. It turned him into a very dark and really leaning into it. If this is what you think of me and who I am, well, then I'll give you that, because as we're known as wrestlers, the most important thing is to listen to the reaction. I don't care if it's good or bad. So I leaned in the bad because it was easy, but that slow and steady rode me personally. It takes a toll. So when those things came out, I had to go and talk to my boss at BioCelerator and go, hey, this is coming out, but I got it under control. There's no legitimacy to it all. So I thought that was kind of important to have my voice out there. Just again, putting it over. I don't know, man. I've heard the bad stuff about Austin. I worked 2, maybe 3 shows with him. Granted, that's not enough to know a guy just being in the locker room with him, but I didn't see anybody at 2CW have a problem with him. He even got hurt and hard weighed and didn't have he wasn't like a dick about it backstage. Who was he working? I think he was working Colin Delaney, and it was a good ass match. And he just caught an elbow or something hard way, and he was split right where, it bleeds a ton. He wasn't a dickhead about it, man, backstage or anything, not putting heat on nobody. So not to say that he obviously hasn't had it. I don't know what the WWE heat was, why he was so hated.
And he even came in when Jim Cornette was booking for OVW, and we had kind of a loose relationship with Ring of Honor. He came in on his own and put over our guys for, was just otherwise seemed like a fine, humble dude backstage. And again, he put over our younger green talent. Actually, the talent he put over was he went on to what was Beefy's WWE name? That's who he worked. I can't think of it now.
I never can think of his fucking ref name.
Shit.
God damn it.
Maybe they can help us out in the chat. He was Vicky Guerrero's assistant.
He was the ref. He banged Paige with Xavier.
Yeah. But anyway, Austin worked him and put him over back when he was, really green, and was happy to do it. And that was despite the fact, because I remember Cornette cut a promo on him about it. He called out Austin Aries for being small during the promo, and Cornette's like, "You don't ever fucking call someone small on the fucking mic," blah, blah, blah. And this went off on Beefy, which I can't think of his WWE name. So people are like, "Who's Beefy?" And so someone
he's CM Punk's fucking ref, guys. He was the corrupt one. What the fuck was his WWE slave name? Brad Maddox. Thank you.
That's it. There we go.
Fucking Maddox.
Yeah, Brad Maddox. Yeah, but he put him over, and was happy to do it. And
he put her over. That was good.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude. I don't see I personally where there's been a problem, but that shit where I do remember that where he fucked the finish on TV or whatever. And walked off.
I do remember that. That was weird.
That can get your ass kicked in the locker room quicker than putting your nuts in Christy Hemming's face can.
Yeah. And that was something, and that's despite the fact that I just put him over for what he did for OVW. That's never okay. That's never okay.
Never. And that's what shocked me. The other thing that I saw that was weird, where he kind of right after he got fired from WWE, he came out with his vegan book, and he was in, I want to say Evolve's ring, but it might have been somebody else. It was
this is why you got to eat meat.
Yeah, it might have been what do you call it? House of Hardcore, I think it was. He came out and did this, dude. He tried to do a shoot model, like a shoot promo for like 8 to 10 minutes and get his book over. They were just booing him. It was like, get out of the fucking ring heat. Like the promo was so bad, dude. I was like, wow, that felt like a guy in the middle of a crisis breakdown situation. And that was one thing that stood out to me as strange as well.
Oh, that's why kids eat meat. Eat your meat.
Yeah. The Society 858 says a lot of wrestlers and bookers claim Austin's difficult to work with, which is why he has so much heat with these companies. I'll tell you, I mean, between Beast and I, and believe me, we're office, so we know that shit coming in and looking for it. But I can't say one bad thing about him in the time they'd had, unless Strangler Steve and Josh had some issue with him at 2CW. He always did solid business. And even when he had a right to be fucking pissed off about getting Hardway, because I think he had to be on TV like the next week or something after that, like that's just the way it goes. He was cool about it. USA Network was reportedly unhappy when Paul Heyman was fired from Raw. As noted earlier, WWE lost a key ally in NBC Universal this week in Chris McCumber, that's the guy's name. And Chris McCumber, who served as president of Sci-Fi and the USA Network, has left the company. According to Meltzer Seltzer and Wrestling Observer, McCumber has known to be a Paul Heyman supporter and wasn't happy when Heyman was fired as executive director of Monday Night Raw in June this year. Heyman was replaced by Deuce, who was already served up as executive director of Friday Night SmackDown. The report added that McCumber had been sold on the idea of a time frame of declining Raw ratings in order to rebuild and create a generation of new stars, which was Heyman's plan. However, when Heyman was let go, the emphasis was once again put on older stars, which did not sit well with McCumber. Whether McCumber still felt the ratings were somewhat stabilized is unclear. McCumber, who took over as president of USA Network in 2011, was considered to be the point person in NBCU's relationship with WWE. He reportedly spearheaded the negotiations between NBCU and WWE, which led to their current big money TV deal. Meltzer also noted that it's too early to speculate that McCumber's exit will negatively affect WWE's relationship with USA, as his replacement will likely want to retain and promote pro wrestling. USA Network was emerged as the wrestling channel to many fans. They have presented 5 hours of WWE programming each week. 3 hours of Raw and 2 hours of NXT. Chris McCumber, that's his name. To me, dude, this feels like a Paul Heyman stooge story right to the sheets to make him look some kind of way and downplay Bruce. And Paul wanted to go with the younger talent. Now that's over. And Heyman's known for this. Usually it comes through PW Insider through Mike Johnson. But this is coming through supposedly Meltzer Seltzer. But to me, this feels like Heyman, maybe Heyman's bucking for that USA job. That's what this.
Now that would be, oh man, I'd pop for that. That would be, what a turn of, a twist of fate. Ooh. But still, yeah, if Paul started lobbying for that, that would certainly switch. That would shift the power, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't this feel though like a planted story to you?
Oh, it does, and he is known for that. I remember Al Snow. Just, we've talked about this on the air about how that was one thing that actually helped ECW back in the day. Is he would send in quote unquote fan reports for the dirt sheets before really the internet was a thing, and would just put it over huge, and that really helped to gain its underground fan following. Was just helping to just kind of accelerate I'm not saying, it didn't warrant it. It was some good stuff, but that certainly helped them to be able to get into the limelight a little bit quicker back in the day.
We saw the story last week from Mike Johnson, or 2 weeks ago, maybe. Talent not happy working with Bruce or whatever. They enjoyed Paul Heyman's work, and now they're, which may be true, because Heyman could lie to him better than Bruce can and give us, and, maybe actually give him something that was halfway decent. But any of these stories that are Heyman versus The Office, or the network wanting to work with Heyman, or talent likes Heyman over Bruce, there's a 99% chance that is directly coming from Heyman to the sheets to get over. So it trickles back up and causes Bruce, some worry. The stooge report will get to Vince, and that he's trying to do that. Anytime you see a story like that, not that, he doesn't, it might not be some truth to it, but if it's there, it's coming from him or his assistant. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Nowadays, he might have someone that helps him or works for him that helps get the stories out. But, at the end of the day, it's still coming from, do it now.
The way that's crafted, it is interesting, man. It kind of stooges it off.
Yeah.
Wrestles.
It's as well written as it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it like believable that it, or not believable that it's coming from the sheets. The way it's framed up, it stooges it off to me.
But smart though, why not plant that seed, put that pebble in the pond, as you say, and see where it goes. It might not go anywhere, but I mean, if it gets them at least in talks for interviewing for that job, that'll change a lot of things. Yeah. And the thing is, as much as I know that WWE would probably hate something like that, that would actually be to their benefit to have someone like him working for the network. But I don't think they would see it that way. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, that's like putting a big mole inside of the U.S. boardroom who doesn't know how to get worked, instead of like, I don't know how they do their shit or anything, but like, what do they have to answer to? You know what I mean? And to have Heyman over there working them, that would be an even better thing for WWE. But at the same time, you've
as well as for USA Network. Let's be honest. I mean, the guy knows how to.
Because if you had Heyman in there and the ratings are the shits right now, right? Like, sure, maybe for the creative, it might be better of being able to veto stuff. But no, the veto stuff. But the reality is Vince would use him as an excuse guy to continue to work the executives. Oh, ratings are down because of football. Ratings are down because of da-da-da. Ratings are down because of COVID. That's why he wouldn't be, in my mind, we're doing this to get Raw on the right track. He'd be an espionage for WWE to fucking work the boardroom people like he's working the sheets right here.
Yeah, that's a fair point too.
Not to sound jealous or bitter, but it's just like, Wrestle Inc. Managing editor Nick Hausman recently sat down with former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang. So Andrew Yang wants change or wants to act like he's a wrestling fan, do it, but he keeps sitting down with the biggest mark reporters who have no influence or have never been in the business themselves in order to try and change things. He sat down with Van Vliet, who got chopped to shit like a mega mark by fucking Spears, and now he's sitting down with this dude. So I expect nothing to get done except lip service. But
yeah, I've seen this Van Vliet guy. He even when a few months back when at OVW he randomly showed up. Who is he, and how did he just all of a sudden? How is he like this big wrestling personality? I'm genuinely curious. I don't
know if it's Barstool or some side little sexy reporting site that got over, and because he's a good looking dude and he kissed his ass way in with Khan and them and whatnot. He became the over guy, the good looking on camera dude who's talking to wrestling nerds like a wrestling nerd, but he looks like somebody that you're, everybody wants to bang or whatever. So I
want to be that sexy wrestling nerd. Why not me, Ben? Why not me?
But then he goes to, and that got me fucked up, goes to Spears and Prince Pretty. What the fuck's his name? Fandango, the other one.
Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze's school. Guys who are very competent wrestlers. I mean, absolutely. And not competent enough to beat you 13 years ago as you beat Sean.
That's right. Yeah, someone told me. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll get my shit in then.
The Man Beast OVW TV champion beat Sean Spears, Ty Dillinger. But anyway, so they take him over there, and, dude, they let as a rib on camera, these are the guys who should be protecting the business in the new Tony Khan era, right? And that shit, they chopped the shit out of him, full purple chest, like destroyed all the blood vessels and like, ha, you're one of us now. And he just looks like a total mark. Like all the boys look at that shit and go, whatever. But so in the Mark's mind, he's made. And then whatever with Hausman here doing this, getting these interviews, SJW wise. Like I said, Hausman's a closer, man, but he'll fuck this whole thing up like he did everything else. Yang says about noted the U.S. intelligence on what happens in Saudi Arabia is still not where many would like it to be. Yeah, that was a mystery, and certainly there are a lot of unanswered questions associated with a lot of things that were coming out of that trip, Yang noted. And to me, unfortunately, our visibility into some of the happenings in Saudi Arabia isn't what we hoped it would be. Dude, I'd go talk to Brody and them. You can support Andrew Yang and Miro. You can support Andrew Yang by checking out Yang Speaks and Humanity Forward. Yeah, we sent him the message. Like, this is all lip service. Yeah. You serious about protecting a biz you claim to like, and you're not talking to the wrong people. You're to the right people. Those dudes talking to the marks and all that, that's not going to get shit done. You want the real insiders and who you got to get around. The message has been sent. Russo's going to send his message, and then we'll see. And it's not just to get an interview and a pop. If you're really serious about this shit and you want to know about hostage situations, about women being raped at USO shows and left in Iraq, if you want to know about the concussion protocol bullshit stuff that really goes on, and put a big stack of stuff to have him called out on, then he's talking to the wrong people.
Can you see and you know what might, I'm glad to hear Russo is going to reach out as well, but it might also, because you know how social media is. I was going to suggest, if next time you talk to Vince, because I know he's not inclined to, try to stir the pot on social media, but I think him putting out a tweet or something saying just simply that he would love to talk to Andrew Yang and air out the real grievances of professional wrestling. Yeah. And that way we could get the Hamin media and everybody else behind it to retweet and share. And sometimes getting traction like that is the way to get their attention. Unfortunately, they're not interested in just getting the right questions. It's about getting the right traction and the right eyes on them. So that's something I definitely would like to see. Yeah. And so I definitely would support, him sitting down with Yang.
I agree. And having a panel discussion, I think, is even more important instead of the singular mark out moment. Like, it's not about, well, we should look into this thing. Let's look into it. Here's the dudes with the inside intel to tell you the real deal. Are you going to worry about what everybody else thinks? These goddamn pop-ups. Or are you going to actually sit down and do something? They're politicians. I don't really expect them to do shit and be reliable in the least. That's why it always takes real men, real workers to accomplish anything and say the truth.
But more reason why I think something like a tweet that gets over is more likely to get his attention, because that's going to potentially give him a bigger platform than, just sending a message and doing, the right thing for the right reasons. Because if we expect any politician to do that, we'll be dead by the time that happens.
What are Van Vliet and Nick Hausman going to say with any credibility to this guy to speak on behalf of wrestlers? Nothing.
They took a chop.
They have no credibility. And look like a mark in front of the entire wrestling world. Now, when we have the chance to actually get something done, because this former presidential candidate is trying to buff off our base. So let's be honest. He's trying to fire up the side to take away the loyalist Republican. It's got new with him carrying and da-da-da. These are all little moves. So they go to the soy boy pundits to get these little half-ass ooh la la headlines for their website. But guess what? That's not going to do fuck all for the guys who really need it, who really need to get this thing someplace. That's actionable intelligence to start your war off of. And instead, they're just going to talk about it, lip service, and move on before November in hopes that it does a little bit to crush down the Republican side because they're tight with Vince, instead of really caring about the boys and saying, where are we going with this shit? And it'll take men to do it, men who wouldn't stand in
I think, and that could be the part too, is he knows if he sits down with someone like you, that is, if he starts to spin that rhetoric, you're going to squash it immediately and say, no, that's not what we're talking about. Then that's, you know what I mean? That's that. I don't trust the Democrats to do anything about it any more than the Republicans. It's all a game. And because that may be part of it too. He just knows that shit isn't going to fly with someone like you that's just going to squash it.
What's terrible is the guys who are getting the interviews have no true connection to represent the boys by any means of the imagination. And they're the ones getting the conversation with the guy who should be smartened up by somebody on the inside, not a fucking Mark pundit reporter, dude. It'd be like MSG going and talking for the rest. I'm not trying to down.
But the thing is, I would trust MSG, because that's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily about, yes, it would be good to have a true representative, but someone that at least has, someone that has the journalistic integrity to say, this is the issue and this is what we really need to stick here whenever we sit down with this interview, instead of just buffing them off, trying to hit the fluff and the highlights of what Andrew wants to say. You know what I mean?
But if you haven't lived it, you don't get to be the voice. And that's the problem. If this guy was serious, he'd go to the fucking where the real heart of it is, and people that need to be talked to. You know what I mean? To get Tommy Dreamer, to get Vince Russo, to get Vito on the concussion protocol, Stevie, all this.
I can go off on the concussion protocol too. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely. Like doctors, we have them. You know what I mean? And why are we going and listening to the guy who lives in a studio apartment, dude? Come on, dude. Come on, man. But that's where we are in the reality of this shit. Vince McMahon, that's me, pal. And that last Undertaker gimmick, the Last Ride docu-series, which covered his final 3 years in the ring. Although Undertaker was at peace with his decision, WWE boss Vince McMahon did not want audiences to conclude that the Phenom was done for good. This is why McMahon insisted on adding the line, "Never say never," to the last episode of the docu-series, dude. Ugh. Dude, could you ruin a guy's legacy anymore? Even in the docu-series, it's fine. Isn't he supposed to be like the wrap-up go home after they fucked it up so many times from the Raw 25 year where he puts his fucking shit down in the ring, and then that's supposed to be the end of it? 5 months later, he's fucking working Saudi Arabia for a payday, having a shit match that ruins his legacy. Then we got to come back and have another match that's lower mediocre to save the fucking stupid ideas where we've cut our nose off to spite our face 15 times and whoring out the character that should be put up on the shelf iconically till the end of time. Now they've lowered it from where it was the last 3 years to about 75% of what it was, just based on the ECW model of let's kick this fucking dead horse one more time and see if we can get her up and ride it. You know what I mean? Like, instead of building Bray Wyatt, instead of building Aleister Black to be that next one, we got to march this fucking guy out again to have a shitbox walk through it match because his body is so done. Because you just can't let him go. You have to go back to these old bag of tricks because you can't get anybody over for some reason anymore. They're so blind and they're so inside the wrestling bubble that they have two future Undertakers and they couldn't get either of them over to where they need to be. That we got to march this guy. I never say never.
Well, it's setting up the inevitable. I'm sure they're working on the technology for the hologram wrestling entertainment or bring back all the wrestlers as holograms.
Why not, dude? At this point, Oh, yeah, like that shit is just ridiculous to me. Never say never. That's Vince. I might have one more run left in me, pal. Just see me jump off that thing, show Gronk how to take a bump. I can do it. You can do it. Somebody who's got more than one run left in her, and we talked about this in detail on all the locker rooms. Mickie James with this strange return to the ring where they've effed her over based on the Nick Aldis Bruce ongoing situation. Aldis cut a phenomenal promo on Bubba Ray Dudley's gimmick, showed chair shot, whatever it is, and that was good. But some of you are like, is it a work now? Are we in a work? As every wrestler would look at. But Mick says that she was working hard to come back because she recognized too where she is at in her life, and she's been in the locker room for so long, debuting 15 years ago on WWE TV. So she's grown so much as a performer and really like to try and help anyone, at least anyone who wants her help. Love the ability to do that, but I also know that my son is 5. I won't be able to go when he's playing soccer, baseball, and football. I don't want to be in the ring 5 years from now full time. I did want to come back to WWE this one last run when I came back after the Asuka match to do something monumental, to be like, okay, that's who Mickie James is and who she always was. I didn't even think I would get the chance to come back to WWE in the first place because you never know. I don't think I have carved out a little thing just for myself. I don't think I have carved out a little thing just for myself, just for Mickie James. I'm not sure what that means. Mick's going to give the best answers possible always. And she's just so sweet all the time that there's never really like a ton of heat with her for anybody. Granted, she's a supreme worker. So if you crossed her, she'll fucking chew your head off. But really that's never her. Aside from being late and getting her out of the hotel. I think that's the only thing I could probably say bad about her. Nick probably too. But yeah, man, whatever this back and forth is where it's hurting her, and she should be on top, and because she was putting over, as the fans have, greatest women's feud of all time with Trish Stratus, right? All that kind of stuff. And Beth Phoenix. That we shouldn't be looking back on 10 years ago at that stuff. Mickie James is incredible enough now to have that next, wow, this is an even better feud than with Trish, with Asuka, or with Bayley. I could see Mickie finally being able to get Bayley over as a heel because Mickey's a great baby. Bayley hasn't had a great baby face to work with, so she sucks as a heel. So, and other reasons.
Ding dong.
But there's so much opportunity here, but again, petty backstage politics with her husband, who's not even signed, is what's hurting her on the show this way. They can say, and the follow-up, that Mickie confirms that her selling was just so good that the referee was confused and thought she was hurt, and that's why he changed the finish on there. And Mick backs it up. I think that's Mickie being a super smart worker, towing the company line when they know she just got fucked over. And if she sells for it, they're going to get that satisfaction. So to the sheets goes this story. What I'm being told is different. And even though they may be in the middle of the work of it all, that WWE wrestling bubble is thick. I don't think they can see all the factors that play against them. I hope it is a work and that Nick Aldis does come in because he is a dude. Then you'd have, just like OVW, how about it? Nick Aldis, Stu, and Drew back together. Like, and not that Aldis was there with us at all, but like there's a top contingent of European guys who are all blue chippers. Now, will they do some dumbass royal family king thing with them? Of course they will, because Bruce are fucking idiots. Instead of making them all like a new European Union James Bond badass type group, you know what I mean? They may bring him in for that, or else they'll just keep him on ice. Just what they could do in power couples alone with Mickie and Nick, Triple H and Steph. Give me some other ones here. Zelina Vega and
Aleister Black.
There's a bunch here that we could do with power couple play and go into if we wanted to even go down those lines that we're not even scratching the surface yet. So interesting. Mickie the ultimate pro, and she could be working both sides, or she could be genuine here. It kind of gets lost in translation of just reading it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I'll say, I mean, that would be great if they end up, if it was a work and Nick ends up over at the Fed. But I think it's possibly more likely, especially since they've been shown to have a working relationship with the NWA, that Nick may end up making the jump over to AEW, which, to be fair, I personally would even like to see Mickey make that jump, because, again, my opinion's biased because I know both these women, but thinking of seeing both Mickey and Serena, who I think most fans haven't been exposed to seeing them work together, and I've seen them work together quite a few times, and it's, man, those two can tear it up, let me tell you. And I think both of them, could get, not only can still go at the level they did before, but considering the years of experience they have, even on top of how good they were back then, I think the matches they could have now would be just off the chain.
I agree, man. And over there to close out Mickey's career,
yeah,
and whatnot, the matches we've been wanting to see for a decade that have just been pushed aside for so many stupid fucking reasons. You know what I mean? Like politics, moving, people not in the biz, waiting for the million, like all these things to get the stars to align, and to get them even in the same arena. And then we can't even get close to pulling the trigger on that business that would rock the wrestling world. Mickey James versus Serena Deeb would go down as the greatest AEW match in history so far, without a doubt, dude. No doubt about it in my mind.
That's without them even trying.
that's doing nothing, right? So, Brandon's sending me voicemails already.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I was gonna play it, but I don't know what he says live on air, so I don't want to fucking stooge him.
Oh yeah.
She confirms that shit is what went down in the trap, and for the submission. I don't know, man. It didn't feel real to me. Like marching Zelina out right after, until I see the run sheet where it says Mickey James loses, Zelina Vega comes out to start new business. I'm gonna believe in my mind and what I see that was a junior Montreal screw job. They were in on it beforehand. Mickey was told, because of the ref, she did so good that the ref was fucked up, so heat on the ref. And then unless Zelina Vega's shit was on the sheet there, I believe that was an audible called in where she was sent out to do that promo right away. Anything short of that, I think they're being lied to.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to watch it. I haven't seen this segment myself, but it sounds it sounds
fucky.
Off. Yeah. Uh-oh, you're breaking up, Ben.
Y'all, yeah.
There we go. Now you're better.
Cool. Let me play this. See, it's just from Brando.
All right.
They were going to physically destroy the university. Now, why did you
negotiate many times?
Negotiate? What is to negotiate? What is?
The university is a public institution.
That's right.
But the university is its own community.
All of it began the first time some of you who know better.
It's rough recording, he says, but it's good. He's on with me right now. Ronald Reagan's speech that's supposedly pretty germane today. Brando, produce that up. Send it to me, man. We'll put it on the tail end of something. Appreciate them, dude. Appreciate all the Hamin media groupers who are making their own art, man, and just submitting stuff, whether it's funny memes of Big Ray or whatever it is, man, that people are taking the time to give a good goddamn and having a little enjoyment making something, sharing it with the Hamin media group. In the
and you can always, as I'm helping with the YouTube page, if you have something you think is really good quality. Now, granted, I can't put everything on there, but if it's of good enough quality, and I think the Hamin Media Army would like it, send it to me. And if it's, like I said, if it's good enough, I'll throw it up on the YouTube page and we'll get it some views, because we're trying to help grow that out anyway. And I'm all about, especially if it comes from our own house, if it's good shit, then let's put it out there.
Absolutely, man. It's people putting over the show I did with Disco, the timeout on Russo's Patreon, patreon.com/RussoTWC, where we talk about Braun, me and Disco and I going in hard for about 45 minutes. And usually it's set up me versus Disco. Not this time. 2 heels on the same side, hot tag back and forth, man. So good stuff. You're not a Patreon subscriber yet. What the fuck's wrong with you over at Russo TWC? Is that power? What the hell do you call me, bro?
Yeah.
Impact star Kylie Ray and Chicago wrestler Isaiah Velasquez are engaged to be married. The happy couple announced the news this week on social media with adorable photos to mark the occasion, dude.
Do you think the caterer is going to be the pizza rat?
Hey, it could be. That pizza rat in Chicago has got a lot of extra heavy lifting to do. Like he better be jacked, bro. But yeah, congratulations to her. She's since the strange leaving of AEW under strange circumstances, and then kind of shown up at Impact. She's done well with her character of positivity. She's in great ring shape. Body's in I'd say comparable to Serena's. You know, as far as she looks like a wrestler ready to go. She works her gimmick, did well on Wrestle House. What's up with all these sexy little Latino wrestlers moving in on American girls, man? Whether it's Andrade on Charlotte or whatever's going down, man. Like, but congratulations to you, man, and Mrs. I don't know, like wrestling. I don't want to say anything bad because you're a wrestling marriage too, but wrestling marriages are crazy sometimes. I've seen a lot of them. Yeah,
very tough.
Yeah, especially if one person is over on TV and the other one isn't as well known. You know what I mean? That can be stressful as well too. So interesting. Yeah, cute kid. I wonder what that real story with Jericho supposedly was, why she left AEW. That was something I expected in the speaking out movement to come back and really haunt AEW, and they put the cap on that.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, we haven't heard anything more, so that almost makes you wonder if there really was anything to it.
Yeah, and they got a nice dog, so that gets her over with me.
Yeah, I like the picture. It seems like they're both in love with the dog more so than each other. Just looking longingly at this little pooch. I'm like, okay, well,
yeah. So when the dog dies,
oh shit, Jesus.
Paul Heyman reveals Brock Lesnar is aware of his partnership with Roman Reigns. No shit. Heyman recently started a partnership with Reigns, and Brock Lesnar found out about it through Sports Illustrated interview. What? Brock Lesnar is very aware that I'm working with Roman Reigns, Heyman said. There shouldn't be any confusion here. Brock Lesnar legitimately does whatever Brock Lesnar wants to do. There's no shortage of box office appeal in the name Brock Lesnar. If and when Brock Lesnar wants to capitalize on that box office appeal, his name will be ringing from the headlines the moment he decides to return to the ring. I agree. He's a megastar. Why you wouldn't have him locked down? I heard that Bellator is now looking for a fight versus Fedor for Brock as a one-off. I think it's crazy to not book Bobby Lashley versus him. In fact, I thought that could have been the catalyst, especially now they have Cain Velasquez, a bunch of other MMA fighters, for Vince to have his own non-sanctioned sub fight brand with a legit shoot fighters. They got Cormier coming in, Matt Riddle, Baron Corbin. The guys.
I think they let Cain Velasquez go earlier this year, though.
But why not have them just as one-offs for fucking these fight things? You know what I mean? To never have Lashley versus Brock in a main event since they've had him back to build it is absolutely retarded. And then to not follow that up with a legit shoot fight as a box office mega draw is double stupid. So, we'll see which way things go for Brock. If he does take a Bellator fight, we know he's not under contract right now. There's been heat in the past. Heyman's moving out of this thing. He's given the fucking, Brock does what Brock wants. I'm with Brock without saying it. Brock don't give a fuck, man. So what do you think? Will Brock come back and fight another? He says he's retired from UFC, but will he do the Mike Tyson one-offs and things along those lines?
I think if the money's right, he's definitely a businessman and a good one at that. So I would say, and of course it's going to be even more of a payoff if he's supposedly done and then comes back out of quote unquote retirement. So if anything, it's a smart business move by Brock. I think if the money's right, and I think it probably will happen eventually, then he comes out of retirement and then people are more inclined to want to see the fight because, I thought he was retired, but it's just a smart business move. And I don't fault him for it, for doing that.
Yeah. Society 858 with a great look too. Why hasn't Bellator booked Lashley versus Hager, 2 heavyweights? And now you got WWE, AEW dream booking in the middle ground, So
I don't think WWE would allow that. I think AEW would allow Hager to do it, but I don't think WWE would allow Lashley to.
I think Lashley would tear Hager a new asshole.
Well, either way.
Who would you take in that? I like them both, but I think I'm taking
yeah, I probably it would be hard because Hager he's a beast as well, but I'd give the slight edge to Lashley more so because I think he has just just his build, like he's kind of he's just as wide as he is tall just about, and I feel like that's a hard guy to be able to take down, as good of a wrestler as Hager is.
Yeah, and I've seen them next to each other. Hager's legs they're not thin by any means. He's just tall. And so
he's a little more lanky.
He's lanky. And I don't think that would be anything difficult for Lashley to get a pick on him and take him down. And then it's just body on body, ground and pound. It's not going to be pretty, but I would take Lashley over Hager. If
it's something I'd like to see.
Yeah, if it was stand-up, Hager might have a chance with long jabs and whatnot, but I just see Lashley being able to move him around based on body mass alone, and difference that way. But who gives a shit? Because that's the 2CW dream booking. A guy from here who can go and a guy from here who can go, and here's the neutral ground. Now let's make a huge draw and hype the whole thing up. Everybody gets over. Instead, nope, we can't do that. We won't do that because that'd be giving them a shine. Ridiculous, bro. So, who do you guys think? Hager or Lashley in Bellator?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ricochet denies report that he's leaving WWE. Earlier this week, reports circulated on social media that Ricochet was interested in leaving WWE, but now he's publicly denied him after the heat came down. No, but that's probably what happened. It was reported by WrestleVotes that someone within WWE has decided they will leave at the end of their current deal. Well, nobody has ever named in regards to that. However, further reports posted that linked Ricochet, the former U.S. and then North American champ, to that report, but the superstar has made it clear that he isn't wanting to leave. He says, I didn't say, quote, in this company. I said, quote, in this industry as professional wrestling as a whole. I've said the same thing for 17 years now. I don't know what the fuck that even means. Whatever. And William Alessi in the Hamin Media Group discussion group on Facebook, always first with the news compared to what's going on the sheets. It wasn't just Ricochet. I've heard Kevin Owens looking to be done, Andrade possibly looking to be done as well, based on these shitty pushes and shitty creative. And we're going to make Kevin Owens the head of Retribution. That'll keep him that. Kev, you want to be in Retribution? Oh, yeah, dude, now I definitely want to stay. Just thing after thing. And I'm sure there's Baron Corbin's on that list. How about Elias? What the fuck? I mean, how could you another guy with millions written on him, and where the fuck is he? Like, there's a lot of guys who are itching to get the fuck out because of the terrible creative. I got to believe Bray Wyatt can't be that far behind after his father is done and his brother getting marginalized and might be on the way out too. Like, how much can you stand at the end of the day? You know what I mean? So I don't think anybody in WWE is psyched about their push and where things are right now, dude. Maybe MVP.
Braun Strowman.
I don't think he's too psyched. He gets depressed over being mid-card.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man. Ricochet doing the damage control, but I think I got to believe the original report is right. That this is the Heyman Bruce switch over too, where, I think Heyman would have want to push Ricochet like he did a Tajiri Super Crazy feud. One of my favorite mid-card feuds in ECW, a lot of great stuff in there. back and forth between those two, but never get him started with anybody to have those kind of things. And then Bruce comes in and doesn't see it in him. He's a little dude who just does flips and doesn't sell. Convince Vince of that, fuck video game style, and now he's marginalized. Like, that's how it really goes down in between, you know, you being pushed and you being completely nothing, really.
And I don't get it. I mean, why wouldn't you base it on things that are more objective, like, you know, how much merchandise is getting pushed during his segments, or more people tuning in? Like, I feel like there's so many objective ways to look at success instead of just having a gut feeling of, I'm just not feeling it. You know, it's just, that's the part that gets me is like, there's rational ways to be able to look at who should we push and who should we not. And I feel like it's completely out the window.
I don't know if I should even say this, because I don't want to shit on the dude. Because I don't even know him. I met him once. This is an OVW thing that kind of stuck out to me too. And now that you're out, we can talk honestly about it. And I'm not trying to down this kid because I don't know him. But and I've seen OVW do this before. Who's the kid that's on top over there now with blonde hair, who's like a semi-high flyer, the younger dude that Al was?
AJZ?
Yeah, I think so. Let's just say that is his name. I don't know. Maybe I'm got the wrong kid.
Is he look jacked?
No.
Oh.
This kid, he wears the singlet because his body isn't that good, but he was like the high flyer. They want him to be like a Jeff Hardy type dude. I can't know his name. He's been in the last year. Like
Corey Storm.
Could be.
Yeah.
But
he got the 205 spot last year too. Yeah, I think probably him.
Right.
Yeah, he's a young kid. He's 19.
But the kid doesn't. They push him to the moon or whatever, and like tell the OVW audiences who are going with the sexy young baby face. And I've seen this formula before. It didn't kind of happen when we were in charge. But dude, I look at this kid and I look like I could fucking thump him in the parking lot 10 out of 10 times. Now I'm a wrestler, but even if I was just a fan and I look at that dude and I go, why are they telling me to like this guy who doesn't have a body, who he's a baby face who I should be living vicariously through because he does the rock and roll high flyer gimmick, Southern style, fucking, you know, Ricky Morton, whatever, that they're going to push this on me. And the crowd there does eat it up. They do like this kid.
Yeah.
I look at him from Gorilla and go, I don't see the money. I don't see the payoff. I don't see him getting over in WWE. So why am I pushing him here? And I think that is the exact same way that they look at a Ricochet. Now, I could be completely wrong, and they could be completely wrong. Ricochet, a lot better body and skills than the kid I'm talking about, but he's a 19-year-old who's going to start getting it eventually, whatever. But it's that force feed that you're going to like, this guy's the fucking man. Well, if it was me and Ricochet in a shoot right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going over on him. Like, you know, so like things like that, if you're not protected and you're presented and forced in a certain way, the blowback comes back. Now, I don't want to shit on this kid at OVW because he's living his dream and he's working hard. But it's those types of...
And it's not his fault.
No. Of course, he's gonna be like, no, I'm not ready. Don't push me. You know, like, of course, but like, it's those types of things that I think never work out the right way. And I think Ricochet's caught in a WWE version of that. I could go back and name other guys who I didn't think there was money written on that drew at OVW. I like the shit out of him, and he was before my time and then after my time, and he's boys with all of us. But
Teddy Hart.
I was gonna go with Spade.
Oh, no, I was kidding.
You know,
Johnny Spade. Yeah, he's a guy that just if he would, I think at one point, if he just would have been in the right place at the right time, he would have, you know, been able to get a shot.
You know, that's one of those dudes who was always in the middle, and you're kind of like, why? You know what I mean? Yeah. Of where is it? So I know that's kind of a weird discussion to have, but there is this thing that comes around in wrestling booking where a lot of guys get, not a lot, but a few guys who should be over or shouldn't be over at all are in this pocket of a push that's way above them. And then it comes right down to the bottom and you're fired. Like, you know, there's no, like, you're either on the lowest rung or the highest rung on the ladder. There's no in between. So
but also it goes back to the importance of storytelling and taking your time with things, and not like, oh, we can make some quick money with this guy, let's push him to the moon. Oh, it didn't work. I wonder why. Well, it must be that he sucks and not the writing. Well,
right.
You know, I think it might be the other way around.
Absolutely. But Ricochet, man, I don't know. There's money there on him. I don't know why that whatever it is with this hurt business and the shitty sixes with their buddies, and we were friends, and now I'm with like, fuck that. The guy's an RVD level talent. Are you going to book him the right way to shine the right way and all that type of shit to get the video game stuff over? Teach him it's not about the no sell and these bullshit double downs, and use his stuff the right way. All he needs is 4 minutes to get over. You know what I mean? Oh, speaking of getting over, somebody's going to try and get over right now live on the air as I sit here with your tag team partner for Switch It Up September. It's the one, the only, it's the Adam Revolver.
Oh, shit.
Am I live on the air?
You better believe it, buddy.
Are you in school? You're supposed to be in school.
Yeah, I am. I'm between Zooms.
You're between.
Is this the locker period where you go between, classrooms or Zoom rooms?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
We're just doing it for Switch Up September, man. I've been wanting to touch base with you, say I miss you, man, and see how things are going with you, dude.
Oh, well, good to hear from you. Am I on the air or not?
Yeah, you're on the air. You're right through my board right now, dude. I have technology.
Oh, wow.
He's not putting it over.
No, he doesn't want to sell it all. For those who don't know, and now you know, it's probably the greatest mind in the last decade at OVW, making stars, writing TV. It's Adam Revolver. Again, one of, like we said, these workers that the world may not know about fully, but could 90% of those on TV couldn't lace his boots, man. And we're just making some random calls. Jamin faved us, you faved us, so I'm glad you called back, man. What's got you hot? What's got you hot in wrestling today, bro?
Oh, I'm not hot at wrestling. I'm hot at Facebook. I'm in Facebook jail right now. Did you know that?
Oh
no.
Troll.
No.
Yeah. I was going to show them, man. I was going to sell all my Facebook stock. But then I realized they had a really good run and there's a pullback in the market, so maybe this isn't the perfect time. Yeah, I thought maybe I would just cancel my Facebook account, but I have an Oculus Quest and that's kind of required for login, so I'm kind of stuck. So I'm going to figure out how to get my revenge on Facebook. Maybe I'll just post something real salty here soon when they let me out.
And maybe I may have to create a shoot name account as well instead of Adam Revolver.
Oh. No, I don't want more social media in my life.
Oh, man. We were talking earlier, Power, about Andrew Yang talking to all these Mark reporters about, what he believes should be happening in wrestling and, workers' rights and independent stuff. And there's nobody I've talked politics more intensely with than you over the years. But, now that this crossover from the Democratic Party is trying to take a look at the shady world of wrestling, probably because Trump's boys with Vince, nothing's really getting done, and it's all just a little bad PR lip service move. But you think it's about time now, Power, and where we are, to really start reaching out for unionization based on what's happened in Saudi Arabia, what's happened with the concussion protocol stuff, and now with COVID testing and along all of these means as our business changes. At the end of the day, the boys are the ones who are going to take the short end of the stick on all this stuff. And it seems like we have the most opportunity to unify right now to do something. What are you thinking about all that stuff in the crossover of the political realm, man?
So Andrew Yang is getting involved in professional wrestling.
Well, he's a Mark fan.
Or he's critiquing.
Yeah. Well, the catalyst was WWE shutting down, or Vince saying you have 30 days to get off Twitch and YouTube, and fucking up. Like Paige was making 40 grand doing nothing, standing around in a bikini telling people to subscribe. AJ Styles probably made about 10 playing video games. Same with Miro. And now that Vince isn't getting his mafia kickback, he shut all that down. And then Andrew Yang saw an opportunity in this to look at it as for workers' rights, but that's just scratching the surface on some side money from that shit. And he goes and talks to, the Mark dirt sheet reporters, nobody that really matters and could get anything done.
Well, so you think that Vince is shutting down social media because he's not getting the money kickback, but it may be because he's looking out and seeing his roster putting things out that are not business related. So I can I can definitely understand that, if it's a money thing, that's completely different. Andrew Yang needs to give some basic income to some independent wrestlers. How about that?
Yeah, I like that. Right? Shouldn't that, if we're in, and not just us, what about like Vegas showgirls and along those lines, right? Think about all the people who were weekend warriors supplementing that, that's a extra $1,000 out of your pocket, possibly in a month if you were working on the road every weekend. And now, what, you get one little payoff. I mean, George Bush gave us the $350 to be able to swallow the war, and this guy gave us $1,200 to swallow a bullshit bio attack from China that's really nothing and has killed all of our business. Where is the looking out for the boys and the girls on this type of stuff? Again, another opportunity, but Andrew Yang would rather talk about small things that make Vince and them look bad instead of really caring for what's going down for the workers, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I would say that unionizing the business would potentially hurt it at first. It serves a purpose where guys who are, what's the term for a contracted worker? It's
independent contractor.
Independent contractor, yeah. They don't get the benefits and protection. So I can see how guys in WWE or AEW would definitely benefit from doing that. But on a lower level, it would probably destroy a lot of independent wrestling, which a lot of these companies that, I'm not talking about names that people would recognize, but a lot of the little, gymnasium run things, some of those need to go. They're not taking care of their workers. They're just taking advantage of people on a level that, that you consider the bigger companies doing that. They're doing it on a smaller level. So I think unionizing has its pros and its cons, but I don't know, man.
I think it's even if we just get with an insurance company to back it and saying, hey, here's a partial insurance for X amount so you can be covered, quarterly dues that aren't anything ridiculous, depending on what level you're at and what you're playing at, could really, get things in motion for guys to get a 401k if they wanted to kick money into it. Just the small things for 20-year workers to say, hey, we made a little headway, and really to battle back against, as the commissions. And in Kentucky, I don't got to explain to you about licensing and the ridiculousness of it, that how they can F over your roster before your show even starts, and they don't even promote your show. They're just taking money from you and lording over you. In New York, you have to have now an ambulance, which in some places can go $350 to $750 for those 3 hours. And then you have to have a doctor as well. Well, what do you need an ambulance if you got a goddamn doctor sitting right there? And then the other part is $400 insurance on top of that, and the place itself, so you're talking $1,700 out of the gate before you even start booking talent on a show that's going to run you X amount, thousands or more. You're operating at a loss. Now throw the COVID stuff on there. How can you expect to make money? You absolutely could never even break even. We need to have some type of regulation that not only goes after AEW, WWE Impact level to let those guys have their rights, but there needs to be a secondary tier for those of us who, are on the road weekends and still need some protection that way. And the promoters need to be protected because these commissions are just raping them, dude. They're just picking the bones every which way they can.
Yeah, so what you're talking about are two different kinds of regulation. You're promoting the kind where you can have a union, so people are kind of joining an organization that regulates, and then you're criticizing at the same time the government regulation. So the government regulation was put in place out of some incident or general concern for people's safety, and then it gets out of control. I mean, it starts with don't hit each other in the head with chairs. You're not allowed to do that, and then it eventually becomes a measuring stick from how far away the guardrail is from the ring, or certain specifics that may or may not be directly related to someone's safety. And those all drive up costs, right? Because then now you got to fund the government, so you got to raise a tax, in which usually is a form of the wrestlers paying that $20, $25, whatever the fee may be in that state. But at the same time, like your complaint about having a doctor or having an ambulance, I mean, that might be something that comes about from a union. Like a players union is always looking out for player safety. They may end up imposing more costs onto these promoters on a local independent level that they're not going to be able to afford anything. They're not going to be able to afford the cost of, bear whatever minimum wage that they come up with for a night's work, because obviously it wouldn't be by the hour, it'd be something different. But
Right.
you'd price the cost of any worker, even the lowest quality worker, their price would come up if they joined the union. And then what standard does the union have? I mean, is it going to be a big, fat old guy in t-shirt league where a bunch of these guys are guaranteed spots and guaranteed certain benefits and things like that? Or what criteria do they have as far as like calling you a wrestler? Where does that certification come from? There's a lot in the world of wrestling because it's this semi-authentic or unauthentic form of hybrid sports theater. I mean, how do you certify such a thing? If someone's a basketball player or a football player or baseball player, they meet specific physical standards because that's what you're competing at. But, how do you measure a promo? How do you measure anything in wrestling?
Yeah, well, I mean, if stuntmen and all them are already SAG-AFTRA, what is keeping AEW and WWE and Impact from all being SAG-AFTRA? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. So why don't we all just join that?
I think that's, to be honest with you, I think that's where, to tie it in, the Andrew Yang, having that spotlight and getting them involved is where we need to be going that way, dude. I absolutely think so.
Yeah. Well, and then there's always good ideas, and then there's the cost of your good idea. So I just don't know where it would stop. I mean, Andrew Yang's going to probably talk, I don't know what he's saying here, but if you're talking about the government forcing the union, the government requiring, I mean, if not that, then the government kind of takes the role of the union, which you've seen that in different states where they step in and try to micromanage the safety of wrestlers.
Andrew Yang's main question is where is Tubby Tommy McNailer?
Son of a bitch.
Andrew Yang.
Get him, Power.
He needs to watch the product.
Yeah. And you guys can watch the product too. OVW TV, executive producer, writer, one of the best workers and whitest men that I know. Literally, that's why we call him Power, because he has no pigment in his skin, and he will sweat all over you and let the worst egg white farts out in the car with the windows not being able to roll down that you will ever have to suffer through. I miss you terribly, Power. Some of my favorite creative ideas were in that shitty apartment of yours, man, 2 a.m, where the three of us would be cranking it out together just to make sure everybody else shines so brightly. And I want you here on Hamin Media Group more. I hope we can find a vehicle that has you excited, man. But thanks for giving us a call back today, dude. I miss you a lot.
All right, man. I miss you too. Hey, Beast.
Hey, what's up, Power? Do good in school today. I hope you pass your class.
Yep. I actually have to run back. We're in our small group reading right now, Aesop's Fables. I'm in 2nd grade, and I am killing it.
Oh, I knew you would, man. You go ahead, and I want you to get from Red Book Group all the way up to Green Book Group. I think you can make that switch this week, dude. I think you can get there.
Absolutely. All right, man.
All right. Later, Power.
Bye.
Roll Tide.
There you go. Roll Tide. Switch it up September. The one and only Adam Revolver. You guys, plenty of his stuff on Ben Hamin channel on YouTube, or just search Adam Revolver, the Mobile Homers, Ted the Trailer McNailer. Man,
the Elite OVW, the original Elite.
Yeah. So yeah, great. I'm glad he called in, and we got a little bit here as we come right up on our last story here. Anything you want to say there before I bring that up, Peace?
Oh, the last story? I mean, not necessarily.
No, just anything after Power that way. He's your tag partner. I think he did well. He didn't go.
Oh yeah, I said I'd love to get him on some kind of forum. I'd love to get him on the. I'd actually be fun to watch him and Bello go back and forth on politics.
Absolutely.
He's a smart guy. He knows his stuff, and he has a different way of looking at things. He's not afraid to disagree and share his opinion. And the thing I like about him too is if you give him good evidence for something, he will change his opinion. You know what I mean? He's willing to accept, someone else's, I guess, view on things as long as you have the evidence to back it up. And that's something that unfortunately we don't see enough of. But I always love conversations with him because he's not afraid to discuss anything from religion to politics. It's actually, not to get off on a diatribe, one of his other tag team partners after me was a Christian youth minister, and Adam Revolver is he's an atheist. I was going to say like a devout atheist, but I guess you can't really be a devout atheist. But anyway, it was fun just to hear them go back and forth, and and it is just very interesting because he's also even though he's an atheist, he's well read on the Bible and everything, and knows scripture to be able to argue against some of these people and their beliefs. So that he's a smart mind, and I hope we can get him on here more often.
I agree. He's a lot of people know him and love him, call him the wrestling robot because he is so meticulous, dude. And there's a couple guys who are sons of Rip. Like we're all sons and daughters of Rip, who came through there. But there's a couple that are very in the inner clique of how they think and how Rip wired their minds right. And when it comes to wrestling, Adam Revolver knows it all. So does Beast. So does Jamin.
And I think we worked out really well as a tag team because he was very analytical. Like he was very good at figuring out all the technical things in the match. And then for me, I was always more of the character and was more about, where's the emotion, where's the context that we're building for this audience. And I think melding those two together really worked for us. And I missed the hell out of tag teaming with them. And well, I'm sure you could probably get them out of the door if any bookers are out there and wanting, I know I'd be more than glad to play some boots again with him.
He, in my opinion, is the greatest psychological wrestling mind I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
I think Rip can quantify it, but putting it down on paper and writing it out, he's the best on how to get the most out of a match. Well, I won't say that. Mondo is. Well, that's pretty good company to be in my opinion, dude.
But he also helped, you helped teach us how to think, in the improv way of things too. So I think that's where you combine Rip's wrestling knowledge with, Mondo's technical, wrestling abilities with your improv knowledge. And it was just a magical thing. I wish we would have had more of an opportunity to get a run. Whenever I went back to OVW before Al took over, we were selling out, the Davis Arena month by month, and I'm not taking anything away from Al, but we really had a special thing going, and they haven't quite been able to capture that same magic sense. And again, I'm just not taking it away. It's just having an understanding of that audience and what each individual audience has their own needs and wants, and you can't just try to force what you think should be good onto an audience. And so I think we just had that understanding, and of course I give you credit for that too, because you helped to instill that improv ability and having that understanding of, okay, we said yes to this idea and the crowd agreed, so we need to keep going forward with that idea in that game.
We found the game, and how do we play that game out, right? You can't tell the game, you have to find the game.
Exactly.
But when the audience sees you and they're with it and they see you find the game, now, because we were walking the tightrope of we could fall on our faces here and they're all going to laugh. They're all going to laugh at me. But when you don't and you get that aha moment, the crowd's with it. And now we can play that and heighten it and explore. And Power is just a meticulous machine to take in information and apply it. And once I did teach him that kind of stuff, and that just came up actually, the picture of me, you, Paradise, him, and Fang and Twink at Improv Olympic 12 years ago. Beast, can you believe that? 12 years ago on stage there. And we knocked it out of the park that night. That was a great show. Your guys' first improv show after training.
Yeah, and we won. We won the competition.
Dude, there's
against a seasoned team. I was surprised. I was just going, and I think we went in with the attitude of we didn't care if we were going to win. We just wanted to go and just play the games, and it ended up working out for us.
It worked well, man. And I was super proud of you guys that night for sure. And here we are, 13 years later, talking the same stuff. And like you said, I don't want to shit on that kid I was talking about earlier, but unless you have that magic and you do it, it's hard to recapture, recreate it, or understand why, unless you're looking at it through the eyes of Rip Rogers and improvisation and a collective of people who want to create art by committee. And that's really what it all was. If you have it all doing individual compartmentalized, you'll never be able to tie those worlds together in an organic way at the end. And your performers will see it coming. Usually they'll show up to the show and be like, what am I doing? Or da-da-da, and you give them a little bit. When you empower them with that type of stuff, they see the future of their storyline come to them and they get excited about it, and they'll come to you with the ideas for details that you might have missed because you're thinking of 17 other people business, you know? So,
and that's the magic of it. And that's when, people get more invested, and it helps build the culture of the locker room. It's just, and it's the frustrating part, and I can see why you get so, and I get frustrated with it too, but I can see why you get so impassioned about it, is because it's like just small changes that would give us better television, and even more importantly, build a better locker room environment and culture that helps to cultivate greatness versus trying to force feed things that just aren't there. And that's the most frustrating part, is because it could be not necessarily easy, but relatively simple in concept.
Well, you know me, I'm the culture vulture. So I'm going to come in and snatch it away. And our last story of the day, talking about trying to get snatched away, Tony Schiavone discusses WWE recently offering him a contract. AEW commentator Tony Schiavone recently spoke to AEW's Dynamite's post show about an offer he was given by WWE prior to joining AEW. Schiavone is a regular on the post show, which streams live on AEW social media platforms. Says, I was getting jacked around by WWE HR department. Yeah, I like to jack them. He had Bruce Pritchard or Vince McMahon contacted me before all of this happened. I would have gone to work for him. I kind of wanted to go back into wrestling. I kind of wanted to go back in because of our podcast. Schiavone added that the official role was never offered, but he thinks the conversation happened to try and stop him from joining AEW, which he ended up doing. And I think Schiavone and JR have absolutely shined as a team together. There's the nostalgia throwback, the inside ribs of them getting older, ribbing each other, ribbing the talent in the ring when they're green and doing dumb shit. For those who know, that pops people at home even more. I think Schiavone's right where he needs to be. The Britt Baker stuff would not be nearly, Britt Baker might not be over. She might still be wrestling if it wasn't for her bullying and playing off of Schiavone. Like you just said with you and Revolver, it's Laurel and Hardy. You need, Abbott and Costello. You need the straight man. You need the talent. You need the color guy.
Is there a difference between, a group mind is when you have a whole group of people, but versus when it's just two people? Like, because I feel like, is that the same thing?
How often because you're in tune with improv and with wife number one and I, this happens every 3 days. She'll be thinking of something. I'm in the same exact room. And this is why I feel like I've been training improv for 20 years. My group mind's pretty open. I can just sense something, and it's nothing that we're even talking about or what have you, and I'll come out with it, and she'll go, oh my God, I was just thinking those exact same fucking things. Get up. Like you might have that in passing or a deja vu. When you're truly in tune with the improv mindset, group mind, it's almost telepathic, where I can hear and feel your chi energy and your thoughts in my head, and I'm going to say them out loud. We can do that with 8 people. That's the true incredible of the group, right? But usually group mind can happen within a confined space between 2 people. That's when it happens most frequently and easiest if you're open to it and actually getting it in.
One more reason why I think wrestlers should do improv. Like after working with you, it got to the point with Revolver where literally when we would be in a match and pacing it, like you said, it's almost telepathic. Like he would give me a look or I'd give him a look, and we would just know either it's time to go into the heat or we need to turn it up a notch, or it's time to go home, and without even saying anything.
Yeah, the audience gives you something.
Right, and it's like, this is it. Let's go home now.
The match goes away, and we've got to play this with the audience because they're in the scene now. Yeah, and what we had as pre-planned, that's
being out the window. We're done. We're not doing it now.
Yeah. Stranger's Alley says, so Ben is a Jedi. The answer is a Sith, but yes.
As with any Jedi, though, you can learn how to use the Force.
It is all around. It's like we're off topic now with Schiavone and whatnot, but the improv training and mindset of where I told them this, we play pattern games. We play games like Big Booty and number games. So we're actively listening and opening ourselves up. So when we're open, then we start playing a pattern where we're thinking on multiple levels. But what you really need to do is that Luke Skywalker let go when he's levitating the rock with Yoda and shit. What we believe, and this is why we stay in a circle in improv a lot of the times when we're training to keep our energy in the middle. But if you think of the chi energy coming off the top of your head and connecting to a collective above, and some people see that as like a pink pinkish, purplish cloud of energy. You've heard about people being able to read auras and whatnot along those lines, that we are emanating that. And if we can all tap into it, into a collective, now we're all part of a greater circuit. And while we're passing focus, I don't even need to be dealing with this person over here. I'm dealing with somebody else, but I know what's coming from over here to take it already, because we're all invested in it. And if you take one person out of that group whole, then we're screwed. Like the patterns fall away. We can't replace them and repair it. What we have right there is a living, breathing thought with 8 people invested into it. And if we're all truly invested, what comes to you is on some really, level of going to see whatever it is, a tarot card reader, or, somebody to tell your future. The human mind and body is capable of much more energy generation and thought transference based on common knowledge and experience. And when we tap into that, there is parts of improv that do open you up in a Jedi mind trick way. There absolutely is. That's not by any means me just trying to fluff up improv or what that is. It's weird. And there's times where you can get into a pattern game where you almost feel like you're standing on the deck of a boat in the ocean. The motion of the energy of the thought and how you have to be open to be able to take things in and listen on different levels will actually start making your body swirl around, because you're disconnected from what it takes to just maintain your own balance and whatnot. Your conscience is actually going into a group conscience that starts going around in circles, and your body will echo that. I've seen it plenty of times, man. So if you want to learn more about improv, I guess I should get off my ass and do some shit on Patreon, but there's plenty of books out there, from The Art of Comedy to Improvising at the Speed of Life, TJ and Dave. And, if you want to know more, hit me up at @bin_Hamin. But I love this conversation. I love hearing my brother's voices, man. It flashes me back 10 years to being in his little cat piss smelling apartment with no sheets on his bed and fucking egg white cartons emptying in the corner. And we're up at 2 a.m. writing fucking great stuff for Dre Blitz and Sergio or whoever it is, man. I look upon those times very fondly, having nothing and creating something great that still lasts a decade later for some phony wrestling, even if it's only to tie us all together as the core and best friends. I'm very thankful for that on the Monday Locker Room. And usually I'm closing the show angry, so I'm very happy to be in this mindset.
I'm too. You're in rare form today, but I'm glad to see it.
I'll try and turn up the heat. We did enough hot take promos. I don't need that clickbait stuff. I'm sure Braun will be fucking looking for me too. Andy Dick wants to do improvisation with me. Well, he knows where to find me. Easy to get a hold of. Unfortunately, his improv kind of sucks because he's more worried about being Andy Dick in a scene, playing something else instead of letting himself go and embodying what he should be, his own celebrity.
Yeah. And when you say, improv is really more about being really selfless versus, being able to lend yourself to your scene partners and being open to their ideas versus trying to force your own down. Is that fair to say?
It's never about pushing your stuff. It's saying yes to what you're saying to me. And I could add a little bit to that. What you're seeing, here's what I want to be. Well, we're 2 hunters. Nope, we're 2 dentists. Oh, okay. Well, we're hunter dentists. Instead of saying, great, we're hunters, but we're also happen to be dentists who have had a tough day at the office. We're just happy to be out here. And I don't want to, I tell you what, I could have shot that bitch in the face as you woke up 3 times during surgery screaming, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Instead of pushing your idea on somebody else, it's acceptance and saying, yes, that's a great idea. And here's what we can do even more to raise it up. So great conversation, you guys, today. Appreciate you. Appreciate Adam Revolver getting back to us from his 2nd grade spelling bee. I hope he doesn't get enough. If you want to know more about my tap dancing and whatnot, that was probably one of the most scarring things. Not the fact that I wore a half belly shirt and could do a shuffle ball change, but I lost the 2nd grade spelling bee on enough. And Mark Myers got Christmas to win, and all he had to do was capital C. I botched enough, and that will stick with me till the end of time. But I think we've given him enough show today, man. Beast, what do you got going on, brother? Where can they find you? What projects?
Well, of course, you can catch me on the Impact Attack this week every Wednesday morning. And, of course, the Next Level Wrestling Review. This last week's question was, when I got to remember what our own homework was. Damn it, now I can't think of what was. Oh, it was. So we saw Damian Priest go over for the North American Championship, and it was simply what is next, or who's next to step up to Damian Priest to challenge him for that title. So if you are inclined to want to play Booker a little bit and book an angle for Damian Priest's next challenger, you can send that to nextlevelwrestlingreview@gmail.com. As I implied earlier, working towards coming up with a healthcare or wellness podcast. If you have any names that you think you'd like to suggest, let me know. I want to streamline it so we have Instagram and Twitter, and all of them are the same one. So I'm trying to get all that lined up. But I promise I will, before that starts, I'm still going to get the groundwork done, but I will have the Bourbon podcast out ahead of time. And then, of course, I'm constantly always watching movies, trying to get caught up on that. This past weekend, saw the movie. Actually, I was really impressed with it. I don't know if you liked it or not, or if you've seen it. Oh, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Buried with Ryan Reynolds. Have you seen that, Ben?
I hadn't. I saw you were watching a movie, and that's enough for me to be happy and excited about something.
Yeah, but it was very good. I'd be curious on your take on it, and especially considering the movie is essentially just him by himself inside a wooden coffin. The fact that he was able to draw in the viewer throughout the emotional context of everything throughout the entire length of the movie, I thought was credit to his talent in of itself. But I thought the story was actually really good, and it was an interesting a little twist on the ending, which I won't give away. But if you're inclined to want to watch a good little drama / horror flick, I guess, especially if you're claustrophobic, Buried is a good movie. And then tonight on the list, I think you'd be happy to hear this one. I haven't seen this one yet. Best in Show is coming up for tonight.
Shit. Best of the best. Catherine O'Hara winning Emmy last night at the Devil Worshipping Emmys for Schitt's Creek. But dude, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, it doesn't. Everybody in that is fucking phenomenal, dude. What's his name who just passed away, who does the commentary on it?
Fred Willard.
Fred Willard, it steals it, bro. Fred Willard will have you off your ass laughing. It's my favorite Fred Willard performance. Everybody in it.
Excited.
It's the best, in my opinion. It's the best of the Christopher Guest films.
Oh, wow.
So plus you're a dog guy, so you're absolutely going to love it, because it totally ribs all of the weird super psycho dog people like you and I are and how they treat their animals. So dude, I'm pumped for that tonight. Christopher Guest, man, he's going to rock your world. And you want to talk about the ultimate of taking improvisers, putting them on film, giving them a loose script and letting them go. That's every Christopher Guest film, from Waiting for Guffman to A Mighty Wind, Best in Show. And Schitt's Creek is kind of the same feeling as well, that old SCTV crew. Just like I talked about with Power, Beast, Serena, Jamin, APOC, that's their core. That's their group that's always going to be together forever. And, they're doing great things, whether they're in their 20s or they're in their 70s. They are doing high level work. And I hope that we make it to our 70s and that we're doing the same thing, and that our friendships last that long here, and that Hamin Media Group will be around.
Group.
I get it.
Oh, will you fucking stop?
Never. That will be around here 2045, man, hanging and banging, as angry as ever, and having some good days like today. Really enjoyed this Monday Locker Room. I appreciate all of my producers that are putting out great shows and putting in those hours, doing those graphics works. Go over, subscribe to Hamin Media Discussion Group. Great watch-alongs in there as well, guys. If you're here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, you know where it is for the watch-alongs. We'll be here all week long, cranking out great content. Numbers are up. Please give everything a like, a follow, and a share. That's what's really going to keep increasing to critical mass of where we want things to go, especially on the Hamin Media Group offshoots. We've been seeing some really good numbers there, from the NFO, the Suck My Balls podcast, and then these short clips that Kaz Plaja are doing, and Manbeast creating these awesome thumbs to entice people to see more. So we're going to keep creating it, infidels. It's Hacker Hamin. It's Dr. Ted. It's your Monday Locker Room. Adam Revolver, y'all. Get the windows rolled down. God damn it. I can't take any more of these farts, you moron. Pathetic, stupid mobile homers. I can't take these rednecks around me all the time with their shitty little wife beaters on and ripped jeans. It makes me sick. Yeah.